Welcome back, folks. It's another great day here on Valiant Renegade. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Share this sucker out on the social medias. And do leave a comment before you head out today. Because this is where Hollywood comes to get put through the business and financial lens of reality. It's time. Renegade Online. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I almost forgot to switch up the background, kind of back to the regular background for here on the main channel as opposed to Renegade Nation. So I'm running to do that. I'm sorry I didn't let everybody know a little earlier today that we were going to start late. That was deliberate. I had a work thing, like a real job, day job work thing this afternoon. That was going to begin later than we usually do. So to be safe, I just pushed the show back an extra half an hour. Turns out really didn't quite need it, but once we already had that set up, I didn't want to fudge it. Plus, it was good. I needed a few extra minutes. Obviously, if you've been following us the last couple of nights, we did a special live show Monday with all the news going on in especially Los Angeles with all of the riots and everything going on out there, the anti-Trump, anti-whatever the hell they think they're protesting and breaking into Apple stores over. We did that to launch the Renegade Nation channel. We did another one last night. So I've had two pretty late nights with extra live shows, but we're doing it obviously to get that second channel built up. And I just want to take a moment here before we get into the main components of the show. We've got How to Train Your Dragon coming up. We've got a lot of box office stuff coming up. We should have a special guest this evening. Mr. Ron Coleman should be joining us to talk about this lawsuit that the Walt Disney Company, in tandem with Comcast Universal, has filed against an artificial intelligence company. It's actually a very interesting lawsuit, and I think there's some good merit there, but I wanted Ron to kind of chime in on some of what the potentials could be here, because this is an interesting one where we see two plaintiffs kind of come together, especially this scale, Disney and Universal. But there's reasons. We'll explain all this when we get to the story. But I wanted to just kind of give everybody an update here with Renegade Nation. It's doing very, very well. We're, I think, almost to 1,200 subscribers over there on the other channel currently. We need to get another, and I haven't had to think about getting a channel monetized in years on YouTube. So some of it has changed. So there is still a 4,000 hour watch hour threshold, but that is for memberships. Or no, excuse me, that's for ad revenue. But they apparently on YouTube, they've changed it over time. I just haven't done it in a while. Now that we need 3,000 watch hours for things like super chats and memberships. So they split it up, which is kind of cool. Are they saying the commercials are on again? There's a commercial that runs in the beginning of a stream when you first click it. I'm so tired of this. YouTube is now defaulted, and I apologize to everybody out there. YouTube has now defaulted. I hate this. YouTube is now defaulting to doing automatic ads. When it used to be, I had to tell it to do automatic ads, which I would never tell it to do. I would just say, hang on, I'm changing it right now. Damn it, I've got to remember this every show now. It's another thing I have to do because YouTube is a pain in my ass. YouTube, let me tell you what, this has to stop. I might try to find somebody there. It's really frustrating because, I mean, I understand why they want to do it. They want to generate more ad revenue, and the creators get more ad revenue too. Obviously, when you're doing live shows like this, the ad revenue from these live shows, it doesn't amount to a hill of beans. I don't care about the ad revenue during it. And especially with the fact that as a host, apart from, again, if you don't have YouTube Premium and you click in, you're going to get, an ad before you get into the show. But once you're in the show, you should not have any more ads. Now YouTube is basically defaulting it to force ads in randomly. I have no idea that ads are going on, when they're going on. I'm just sitting here conducting a show, and people in the audience are telling me, oh, it stopped again for another ad. Like, what? I can't see them. We have no, it's very frustrating. Very, very, very frustrating. So they're now turned off again. Sorry about that. But Renegade Nation we're about halfway as of right now to being able to apply for the part of the monetization that they've changed now to where, they'll have super chats and memberships and all that kind of stuff over there. I know some people were asking about, for members of the main channel, will we have memberships on Renegade Nation? YouTube doesn't have that. And there's no way for me to do it. I wish there was. That'd be kind of cool. But the reality is that I no. And it has nothing to do with me or any of the other channels out there. It's just a function of YouTube doesn't let you cross the streams in that manner. So thank you to everybody watching out there on X. If you're watching on X and you want to participate in the conversation, get the hell off of X. Come watch it on YouTube. X is another one that's kind of frustrating with that. They have not quite figured out how to help content creators in a very positive way. Unfortunately, there's nothing that can replace YouTube right now. There's nothing that comes even close. It is the best thing out there, but everything has its flaws, but it is what it is. All right, we got a bunch of things to go through tonight, so let me kind of dive into this. I think Mr. Coleman, he had an engagement that began about 30, 45 minutes ago, I think, and he'll be here when he's concluded with that. But let me get into some of this ahead of time. I want to grab some of these first. Marcus Quintus gifted 5 Valiant Renegade channel memberships. We had an exclusive members live stream last night. In fact, I went 2 hours last night. I thought we'd go 1, but we just kept watching what was going on, and then I shifted over into a Renegade Nation live show. I may do another one tonight. We'll see, because I really want to try to get this channel up to that monetization point as quickly as possible. As I know there was a lot of people last night that wanted to send in super chats and support because you guys are awesome and we love you for it. You can't do it yet over there. So we're trying to get it to that point, because once you get to monetization, you get pushed into a new category in the algorithm over there. So we've done extremely well so far. I'm not complaining at the speed at which this is going, but at this point, it is now entirely incumbent. You guys did your job. Y'all are showing up and watching. Y'all have subscribed. It's my job now to produce the rest of the content needed to drive the remaining 2,000 or so watch hours for full monetization, and about another 1,200 watch hours or so for the super chats and membership, again, according to all these new YouTube criteria. So thank you guys for helping out. Araxis gifted 5 Valiant Renegade channel memberships. Thank you, Araxis. Much appreciated to you. He also said for $10, this one's from Packing Protons, it got you covered. Now, maybe don't challenge VR Pro, Jonas, and Lauren to see bad movies at $400 a pop. Just saying. This one is from... Did Packing have to send you that? Because he couldn't send it in. Thank you very much, Araxis. Marcus Quintus for 5. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, share this out to the masses, and check out the new YouTube channel, Renegade Nation. It's youtube.com/@Renegade Nation News. And if the mods can post some links in there to that channel if they like. Floral from Under a Rock. Oops, what happened there? Floral, what's up? Floral from Under a Rock, member for 15 months, says, can't do the Prime Superman deal in Canada. My commie country sucks. Hopefully the movie doesn't suck and it's worth the wait. I have big doubts. I understand people having doubts. I get it. We've been treated to enough garbage. But I'm giving this one a wide berth. I'm excited to see it, and there's a lot of data out there. Obviously, that's one of the stories we're going to talk about tonight. A lot of data out there suggests that this movie could potentially do very, very well. I think a lot of people are interested to see what's going to happen here. Big Blue Horses for 2. Proud to be one of the brave 1,200. Thumbs up to the show on Renegade Nation. Thank you very much. May or may not do another show tonight. Just depends. I'm still very, very tired. It's been a long several days. So, all right. Speaking of, let's start off with some of this news because we've got to talk about what's coming up here. But before we get to what's coming up, let's take a look real quick. Let me flip this around here. We want to take a look at where we are currently. Why is it giving me weekend charts? I don't want weekend charts. I want weekday charts. The numbers has changed things too much. It's kind of irritating. The way which pages display. It's still like by now on the home page I should see the daily chart, but it still defaults to the weekend chart, and we're Wednesday. It's Wednesday. We should be seeing the daily charts by now. All right. Let me flip this out. Okay, so here we have this. Lilo and Stitch, this is through Tuesday. So I want everybody taking a look at here at a couple of things so we can kind of see what's going on. I think at this point, Lilo and Stitch, we've talked about this, that $772 million is an amazing box office haul for a film that allegedly kept its budget under control, or at least insofar as we know. I think it was probably a little bit more than what they're saying, but take it at its word for right now. It's done extremely well. Even if it was $50 million more, this is still done very, very well. Now, the question is, does it get to the $1 billion mark? My concern here is that, of course, this weekend with How to Train Your Dragon coming out, this is going to put a lot of competitive pressure on Lilo and Stitch. If you look at the most recent trends here, if we just look at the weekend box office performance, you got 146, 61.8, and then 32. Pretty good holds when you consider the stretch out from a 4-day weekend to a 3-day weekend and the second weekend. We talked about that before. So we give a little deference to that 58% because it's not kind of a normal drop, because there's a lot of people that stretched out into Monday the previous weekend because that was Memorial Day. But $32 million on the third weekend. Now, this weekend, it's going to lose some of its PLF screens, if not maybe almost all of them, because of How to Train Your Dragon. So that's already going to put a 10 to 15% insta drop on top of a natural drop. So we could see a drop this weekend. I think that How to Train Your Dragon probably will wind up with around 15, or excuse me, with Lilo and Stitch will wind up with around maybe 15 to 16 million this weekend. Still a pretty good hold. It might even go down a little bit more. It just depends. But when you take that into consideration, the drift up to $1 billion at this point is getting a little further away from happening. And I'm sure Disney wants to hit that mark for a moral victory, certainly a financial victory as well, but a moral victory more than anything, to have another $1 billion movie, right? But the chances of it seem to be fading fast. I think this thing is going to end up probably maybe a little bit behind Minecraft. And we got to take a look real quick and see Minecraft, because now it's been a while and we've had so many things since then that I don't quite remember exactly. I think it was 950? Where did Minecraft finish up at? This is where the numbers drives me nuts, because it slow. 950. Hey, I was there. I was right there. 900. So 423 million domestic. Does Lilo and Stitch have another 80 million in the tank domestically? That's going to be tough, I think. Internationally, 527. I don't know. This is Lilo and Stitch is about $180 million behind a Minecraft movie at this same point in time, or at this where it is now. And if you look here, how this kind of played out after 19 days. Minecraft was at about 350. Lilo and Stitch not terribly far behind it, but Minecraft, the difference with Minecraft obviously was it had that huge meme power. You had all the videos of the kids going to the theater over and over and over and over and over and over and over again to do the videos of themselves doing chicken jockey, right? And it was also at a time when it had no competition for over a month. That's not going to be the same case here with Lilo and Stitch. I think that's going to be the big difference here. So yeah, I don't know how that's really going to play out. I don't. Now, the other thing that's bad news here is Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible. I think it's going to kind of hit a ceiling in this weekend, and this we're going to be seeing kind of towards the end of this. It's a shame. It wasn't as good as I'd hoped it was, but I still enjoyed the hell out of it, no question. But that being said, all the IMAX screens, bye. And that's what's driving the revenue on this is IMAX. It's losing all the IMAX, and it's going to How to Train Your Dragon. So that is, we'll obviously have a much better picture of that on Sunday. But what I want to show you is a couple of pieces here that we need to kind of cover here. One is going to be here from Deadline. But before we get to that, I want to kind of drift over here because Variety had some great intel on this for us. I'm going to switch back over. Let's see here. All right. How to Train Your Dragon to fly to a $75 million opening weekend. Now, they're talking domestically here. I'm thinking it's going to be more than that. I'm thinking it's probably going to get real close to 100 million. I hope I'm right. I hope for the movie's sake and my own ego, of course, that I'm right. And I think a lot of people are saying this is just the kind of early. This is one of these movies you can't pick up a lot of walk-up traffic. This is going to have a lot of families doing walk-up traffic that are not pre-buying tickets. And, this is also a movie that could hopefully grow some good legs. And there are people looking at this going, well, we've got the animated version at home. This one looks like it's the same thing. This is one of these movies that a lot of positive word of mouth could add hundreds of millions of dollars to the box office very, very quickly and easily. So we'll have to see. But the thing to pay attention to here is what Variety tells us about the cost of this film. DreamWorks live action How to Train Your Dragon is poised to fly to 70 to 80 million in its box office debut. Enthusiasm from family audiences and goodwill toward the original 2010 animated adventure could propel inaugural ticket sales even higher. According to independent tracking services and rival studios, How to Train Your Dragon looks to collect another 110 million at the international box office, where the film lands concurrently in nearly every major territory. Even the lower end of the domestic projections would have a strong start for How to Train Your Dragon, which cost $150 million to produce. Set on the mythical Viking village of Berk, the story follows blah, 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 blah. So $150 million. Sounds a little light, but we had an article from our friend Caroline Reed not that long ago, maybe about 8 months ago now, where some of the first filings for that had come in the UK. I believe it was the UK. And showed about a $50 million pre-production cost, which is not terribly shocking considering when you think about the scale of this movie, the scope of this movie, the sets you have to build, the technology that's involved in creating this movie with the compository of obviously a lot of CGI that goes in with the dragons themselves, and then having to blend in with the humans in very, very interactive ways. There's a lot that goes into that. So to have finished this film at about 150, maybe 200 million is what I'm guessing they probably spent totally was 200, a little over 200, and then got a decent little film tax credit back that netted them down somewhere closer to 150. That would make a lot of sense. Again, this is Universal and DreamWorks. This is not Disney, where they do a movie 17 times because they didn't do it right the first 16 times, spend a bunch of extra money, constantly blow budgets, and have bad fiscal management. That is something that is very, very decidedly Disney. It can happen to other productions. We just talked about it with Ballerina that went over budget massively for a bunch of additional scenes added in and reshoots, but with Disney, it's more of a common thing. It doesn't look like that's happened here. So when we talk about, this movie here, I mean, you're looking at 150 million. Throw another 100 million, I'd say at least, on top of this, no question, for a global marketing campaign, maybe a little bit more. We'll probably have a good idea from Deadline probably by this weekend, if we're lucky. So what you're looking at is a movie that probably needs reasonably between 500 and 600 million at the global box office, if we're just counting box office. But here's the thing. A significant portion of that production budget, that 150 million net, if not perhaps the entire thing, is really already paid for because of Netflix and the deal that they have with Universal. And you got to remember, Netflix loves and have had for years the How to Train Your Dragon exclusive Netflix cartoon show that was produced for them by DreamWorks, a very popular show on Netflix for their kids panel that they have on the streaming service, the kids audiences that they have that watch is very popular for them. So this will be a big boon for Netflix as well. And part of that multi-year contract that Netflix has for stuff like this, they're going to be very, very pleased with it. Okay, it's going to perform very well over there with the rest of the catalog. So most of this production cost, if not all of it, is pretty much already paid for. That's one thing to remember here. Again, we can't say the same thing about Disney because Disney they don't license their stuff out. They don't get a cash payment, from anybody else. And it's not like, Disney Plus isn't turning much of any profit. Well, arguably none. Arguably still in the red. Hulu is what's keeping them afloat. By the way, update on Hulu. Apparently there was a settlement reached there. We'll talk about that in the show as well. But this movie, I think, it does not have that high a hill to climb, even if we only count the box office side of things. But I would like to see this movie get to at least around 750 to 800 million by the end of its run. I think it's a reasonable assumption. It'll make a good bit of money in the movie theaters. It'll probably have a decent little run when it comes to PVOD rentals and sales, and then it'll have a short life on Peacock, I think, for a little bit, for a few months before it moves over to, I don't know, actually it still may be under this isn't animated, it's live action, but it is from DreamWorks. So this is a bit of, I don't know if this would go to Amazon Prime because I think they still have their contract through the end of this year for live action stuff. That's a good question. I wonder if this is going to go to Prime or Netflix. Definitely in the long term, starting next year, Netflix has all of it. There's not going to be a split between Amazon and Netflix anymore. Netflix wrote an even bigger check this year to Universal to not have to share things with Amazon anymore. They want all of it exclusively. So again, a testament to how very, very pleased Netflix is with the performance of products that come from Universal and the value that they see to their Netflix membership on that streaming service, which I think is fascinating. Let me go over to the Deadline article here. Boom. Let me blow that up. That is some really distracting ads on this thing. Yeah, I saw this thing about the Harvey Weinstein thing. I don't know if I want to get it's kind of hard to get into that on a YouTube video on our stream because of the stuff you have to talk about. But basically, we'll talk about it in a bit. If Ron gets here and he's got time, I think that's really, really interesting. It's not so much about Harvey as it is the jurors. So we'll we'll get back over there. So let's see. All right, so I got my camera switched around here. So let me do. I have reoriented the screens on my system here to make this a little bit easier for me with where I was trying to set things up and do things. So it's disorienting to myself. I just did this week, so it's a new experiment to see how this works. But so far, I think I like it. I've just got to get used to it. So if you see me looking kind of in funny directions now, that's different than usual. That's why. How to Train Your Dragon won't be lagging at the summer box office with a 175 to 185 global start for a live action redo preview. All right, so this is from Deadline. This is a joint article from Anthony D'Alessandro and Nancy Tartaglione, who we talk about basically every Sunday on this show for years when we cover the box office. And that is because Anthony covers the domestic box office, U.S. and Canada. Nancy covers the international box office. So they're going to give us, and their estimates here are usually very, very good, especially at this point, coming into the weekend. Now they have undershot things. Everybody grossly undershot what happened with Minecraft. There was an undershot of Lilo and Stitch, albeit to a much lesser degree than I think they undershot Minecraft. And I'm kind of hoping that they're playing the conservative game here too with a lot of these estimates. And instead of 65 to 75 million, that we're going to see closer to 100 million domestic opening. But be that as it may, here we go. Domestic box office estimates for this week's opening for How to Train Your Dragon are between 65 and 75 million plus at 4,000 theaters. And don't be shocked if this beloved title overperforms. And again, I tend to agree with that. This isn't Gus Van Sant's take on Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, doing a shot-for-shot remake of the original. And even with Dean DeBlois, or DeBlois, I don't know if how French he does this name, who was the original guy behind How to Train Your Dragon, he is also doing this new one. So it's the same dude. There's a lot of heart here, but it's not a shot-for-shot remake. A lot of swoops that set this live-action reboot apart, even if Toothless the Dragon looks similar to his animated original version. And they talk about, and look, we've talked about the casting of Astrid with Nico Parker, who's, I mean, beautiful young lady, but doesn't really look like the traditional Astrid, right? The blonde hair and all this kind of stuff. They've changed it. But if this movie performs well in terms of being an audience and crowd pleaser, then it's one of those things that people will just kind of glance past. But it is a little jarring to see Astrids running around the park in the How to Train Your Dragon park in the brand new Epic universe that looks exactly like Astrid from the original movie. And then you have an Astrid in this movie that looks absolutely nothing like that. Could not look any different, in my opinion. Again, I think about this from a merchandising standpoint. But whatever. Do what you're going to do. We get it. We know there's sometimes some decisions to make DEI casting because you have to have somebody that looks like this or sounds like that. Again, I've talked about this enough on Renegade Nation the last couple of nights. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole again, but look, it is what it is. As long as they can pull it off, good. Critics on Rotten Tomatoes, 81% fresh on How to Train Your Dragon for critics, that's a little surprising to me that it's that high. Especially for movies like this. These kind of kiddie family movies, they usually kind of get a little bit more banged up with the critics. The original animated movie was a 99% certified fresh. Very different era for Rotten Tomatoes. And again, I always get kind of frustrated when we make comparisons or they try to go back and critics react to movies that came out. Like, the original 1977 Star Wars has a Rotten Tomatoes score. It's a completely different era, and you're going back and reviewing something that took place 40 years ago. This is kind of the same thing because Rotten Tomatoes wasn't that big of a thing back in 2009 and 2010, at least not like it is now. But here's the kicker. How to Train Your Dragon will have all the firepower of PLFs. So Deadline is saying all the firepower of PLFs. I don't know if that means the firepower of all PLFs or all the firepower of the PLFs, the premium large format screens that it has. And what, again, the reason I bring that up, if it has every PLF screen out there, that means that Lilo and Stitch that's going to be a big foot in the ass for Lilo and Stitch. If they're going to lose all the PLFs, How to Train Your Dragon is definitely going to be prominently featured, probably in both PLFs that they have in theaters right now, but that doesn't necessarily preclude Lilo and Stitch from getting one or two screenings a day in one of those PLFs still, if they think it can still perform well, right? But we're past the point of Disney having guarantees for those PLFs. So if Lilo and Stitch, if How to Train Your Dragon takes over all the PLFs, then yeah, I think you're going to see, you might even see 12 million to 13 million this weekend for Lilo and Stitch. So that's why I say it's going to be very difficult for it at this point to work its way up past Minecraft. Little, and there's just too much other competition coming out. How to Train Your Dragon, this is just the opening salvo. So it's going to get the PLFs, the 40X, ScreenX, and the entire network of IMAX screens, 413. That means Tom Cruise, like we said, and Mission Impossible is cooked. Done. Because that movie, if you look at what it's bringing in week to week or day to day right now, that's with it having all of these big IMAX screens in many cases, or at least some kind of showings still on the IMAX screens somewhere. But it looks like that's it. We're done here. But they're looking at about 110 million on the international side. So as of right now, 175 to 185 million is what they're thinking. I would like to see that figure over 200 million, obviously, by the time we get to the show Sunday. I think that would be a good, solid start for this kind of movie. Hopefully even more. But I would love to see this thing be a billion-dollar movie. We thought Lilo and Stitch would be a billion-dollar movie. It looks like it's going to fall a little short. And we can all, look, some people didn't like how they changed the character in the film. And that pissed some people off and they didn't want to see it. I get it. This is what happens when you screw around with stuff. Now, as long as they did not materially change any of the story arcs, the character arcs, or anything else in this movie for modern audiences, retards, then it should be fine. It should be fine. Hopefully. We're going to see. The only place, good Lord, it's always Japan, isn't it? Okay. So they have the significant overseas previews last weekend begins official. So Wednesday today, it's rolling out in international markets with all box office in the mix through Friday, except for Japan, it doesn't open in Japan until September 5th. Japan they're getting worse and worse. I mean, that's insane. That's 3 months. 3 months away from opening in Japan. By then, it's going to be out. It's going to be out on PVOD here. It's going to be pirated everywhere. Jeez, Bates. The movie before Prince and ads cost $150 million net. Here we go. This is why I love Deadline. They give us more information. $150 million net. That means they spent more than $150. They got money back from film tax credits. It was shot in Ireland. So there we go. Irish film tax credits. I'm going to assume they're probably similar to the film tax credits that Great Britain puts out there. So there we go. The former live action take of Disney Toon expected to do around $20 million in the U.S. and Canada. Okay, look, here's the thing. If they're saying $20 million, I'm questioning this because it just did 32. Maybe it will only fall that much, but that would be an incredible hold, losing all the PLFs. They're saying Lilo and Stitch will eat into Toothless's take with the former live action Disney Lilo and Stitch, expected to do around $20 million in the U.S. and Canada, off 38%. The notion as of this minute is that there is room for both adaptations of these beloved feature tunes. That would be interesting. If that thing actually gets to stick around and hold at $20 million in this weekend, I don't know. It might wind up finishing off a little bit better than I expected. I don't know. I'm still thinking 15. My first thought of 15 million. I mean, that's a little over a 50% drop. Again, you take an immediate 15% punch when you lose all these PLFs. I don't know. Let's see. In February, How to Train Your Dragon Super Bowl spot amassed north of 370 million global views on YouTube. Whew, I didn't know it was that high. Good Lord. 750 million views to date for all the How to Train Your Dragon trailers thus far. That's very impressive. Note that How to Train Your Dragon has no significant holidays ahead overseas, but European majors love the previous animated movies, as does Latin America, especially Brazil and Mexico, which are obviously big markets for American films. Korea and Australia also have a sweet spot. So again, some very lucrative markets out there, and this is why they're looking at a much fatter start internationally. Almost, according to what they're saying, could be as much as 2-1. So I mean, that'd be fine. The property is also well known in China, Where the 2014 and 2019 films, I guess that was the second and third ones, combined at $120 million. Market's uncertain, but the film is leading pre-sales on Friday and Saturday, so it will be released concurrently in China as well. They go into some more details there, but I think yeah, they're okay. That's what I was looking for. Of the nearly $1.7 billion overall for How to Train Your Dragon, the entire franchise, theatrical, 1.1 billion of that is from overseas. So that's what I was telling you. It's almost 2-to-1 overseas versus US. And it's not to say that it has a lack of popularity in the US. It's very popular here, but it is extremely popular overseas. So I'm thinking that, we'll see something similar hopefully by Sunday here. But again, the summer months are here. Families and audiences do tend to stretch out, especially these kind of family movies. They do tend to stretch out their viewership habits as opposed to loading everything up in a weekend, especially for family films like this. You've also got Father's Day this weekend, right? That's Sunday, is it not? So we got Father's Day this weekend. That should theoretically be a big driver for a movie like this. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. And then some people may show up, a bunch of people may show up Monday because they did stuff Father's Day besides seeing the theater. You never know. You never know. But let's see how this works out. The budget seems well in control. Funny that that's on the screen right now because we've got to get to a thing about Pedro Pascal. So we'll get there in just a bit. All right, let me see. Let me grab some of these chats that have come in since then. I've got to clear. Rogie became a YouTube channel member. It's good to see you. I think, so you usually watching over. Yeah, I usually see that name pop up over on Force of Light. Welcome aboard, sir. Wonko the Sane. I think he was a member before. He's probably just a renewal. Wonko the Sane for $5. It was great seeing Maxine Waters get booted out of chat on Renegade Nation. Was that the name of the? I didn't think that was the name of the handle. Or I guess are we just pretending it was Maxine Waters, or we think it was Maxine Waters? God, jeez. Yeah, it's rare. If you missed it last night on the new channel, if you weren't watching, and there are things that rarely get me to a point where I will outright, and this was a ban. Unlike, one of the trolley clowns that we have here on this show that's just an annoying idiot that spends way too much of his life just heckling people he doesn't like. This was an individual last night in the Renegade Nation chat. We're covering these riots in Los Angeles and everywhere else. This was the first time that I think on air I said, okay, that's it. Mods banned, not timeout, banned, because he was calling for the unaliving of the president. You can't do that in a chat. You can't do, he was using those numbers that Jim Comey said he found some seashells on the beach. And he kept repeating it in chat, and he kept spamming it in chat. And at that point, it was like, yeah, I'm not going to wait here for YouTube to slap me down with a community strike, because it has happened in the past where channels have been damaged because of the deliberate, malicious intentions and actions of people in the chat. So it was a simple matter of, oh, that's not going to fly here. You're banned. Blocked. That's it. You're out. See ya. You can watch the show all you want and scream in your mama's basement. But you ain't going to be in my chat. Yeah. Some people. Thank you, Wonko. Nightwalker Medicine gifted a Valiant Renegade channel membership. Thank you, dude. Satire Station for 10. I think Jurassic World Rebirth does 750 to 950 million global. Each Jurassic World did 300 million less than the previous, 1.67, 1.3, and then 1. There was 14 years between Jurassic Park 3 and World making demand. Now it's 3. Thoughts? I think it's a great analysis, Satire. I think it's actually a great analysis. I think that's very good, and I don't really disagree with you. I said this before. My concern with Jurassic World, even though Jurassic World is still when ERC, exhibitor relations, and we showed this poll before. In fact, let me see if I can go find it again real quick, just to remind everybody. Jurassic World came out on top as, which movie do you think will basically win the summer box office? What do you think will be the biggest movie of the summer box office? And 46%, I think, said Jurassic World. 40% said Superman. 12% said Fantastic Four, which, of course, we identified that as this is a real serious problem, like a major problem for Fantastic Four, because this is just a normal, run-of-the-mill kind of broad-stroke audience. And let me get this in. Hang on one second. I'm trying to log in. I don't know why Chrome keeps logging me out of X. Like every time I open up a panel, I have to get the two-factor authentication. I'm like, this is stupid. Let me see here on from ERC if I can show you guys this to see what I'm talking about, because this is a very good super chat. Very, very good super chat. If I can scroll down and find this dang thing. Yeah, I'm seeing this. Let me just pull this up on the screen. This is cool. I love how this is ERC. You can see what he did here. Legend of Zelda. Dude, I'm an old school Zelda nerd. I love Legend of Zelda. I think that's Zelda 2. Yeah, that's Zelda 2, which I didn't like the weird side scroll Zelda. I was like, give me the overhead. It was wrong. But in case y'all didn't know, yes, Zelda got moved. I think I briefly talked about this the other day. Legend of Zelda got moved because, well, the head of Nintendo said that they needed a few extra months or weeks, but what they did is they moved it into the May 7th slot that Disney vacated when they pushed the release of Avengers Doomsday back an entire, 7 months, all the way till the Christmas slot, which I still have my doubts that they're going to be able to release it in time. So I think, look, even if Nintendo didn't need the extra couple of weeks to get there, I think it was really smart moving it into that slot. Because I don't think that gives them a really clean run. Because some other big movie was going to move in there if they didn't do it. I think that worked out great. I'm trying to find this poll. I think it was on the 6th. We should be almost there. There it is. Nope, that's Ballerina. Dag nabbit. Well, they had it here. I don't know where it went. I know I'm too far back now. What happened to it? I wonder if did they take it down? I should have saved it. Shoot. It's buried now in whatever I had it in. They had a poll. And the poll was, I don't see it anymore. But the poll here on ERC basically had Jurassic World at 46%, people saying that was going to be the blockbuster. Superman at 40%, and Fantastic Four was like an abysmal 12 to 13%. It was humiliated in that poll. Just 2,000 random normal people that follow ERC, right? So I think you have a good point, Satire. And in that regard, I think that part of the issue with Jurassic World Rebirth, and I've been saying this, is that when I think there has become a level of exhaustion to it, yes, for normal audiences. I understand that the diehards out there that want to go see it, the diehards out there are really, they're going to be gigged up. They're going to go see it no matter what. But the normie audience, right? The normie audience is what drives these blockbuster budget or these blockbuster box offices like they do to $1 billion plus. Chris Pratt, heart and soul of these kind of films, and I think there's something to be said for not having Chris Pratt in it and you're now replacing the Chris Pratt character, that strong, funny but very alpha masculine role in an action movie like this. You're now replacing it with Scarlett Johansson. Oh, but Scarlett Johansson's real popular. Yeah, I mean, she was like when she was Black Widow and all this, and now she didn't, she didn't want to do the tight clothes and the sexy stuff anymore. And I get that's fine, but there's a time and a place for Scarlett Johansson. I don't know how well it's going to translate in this movie, at least in terms of getting audiences in. And I don't know. I don't know. I think Jurassic World is going to wind up close to $1 billion. I don't know if it's going to get over. It really depends. Now, if people go see this movie and everybody says, "Oh my God, the movie's amazing, the movie's awesome," and they want to go see it again and again and again, okay. But we don't have enough information yet to really get a grasp on how that's going to play. Because I think there's not been any previews or nobody's seen it yet to review it. It's still a month away from coming out. It comes out after Superman, or is it? No, does it come out? No, it comes out July 2nd, right? It comes out, Jurassic World comes out the Wednesday before the July 4th holiday weekend. So we're still 3 weeks away ish from that. William Thompson gifted 10 Valiant Renegade. Thank you for the $50 super chat. William Thompson, appreciate you guys. And everybody, thank William, and thank everybody who gifted some membership so far tonight. Hey, Pinky, let's try and take over the world for $2. The Wild Man of Yavin. The modern audience they're looking for is really going to hurt F4, Fantastic Four, at the box office. All of them are currently in jail thanks to LA riots and such. Yeah. Yeah. They keep saying, the audience, the domestic audience, it over indexes with Hispanics and Latinos. It might underperform this summer if there's a number of them that stay home because they're afraid of getting deported. You're not necessarily wrong. Yeah, we'll have to see. And look, certainly in places like LA, this activity is going to have an impact on people going to the theater. And you're kind of bringing up a great point. I guess I didn't consider till just now, because something that we have talked about on Renegade Nation, and may again this evening if I decide to do a show over there. But one of the things that we have brought up is that they are, the Democrat Party they're making plans to have more riots this Saturday. They're trying to do a big national day of rioting. And of course, they call it peaceful protesting. We all know what's going to happen. Same thing that always happens with these people. They're going to burn shit down. They're going to do whatever. I mean, hang on a second. I got to make sure I text Ron Coleman back. They're going to do what they usually do. They're going to be throwing rocks at police. They're going to be trying to unalive police officers. And there may be a lot of people in some of those big cities that stay home, because if their most convenient theater is in the middle of an urban area where all that's going on, then yeah, they're probably not going to. Now, for the people in the suburbs, theoretically, you hope that's not going to be the case. So I think that will be interesting to see if the Democrats do manage to pull off this massively organized national day of riot on Saturday. If you don't believe me, go Google it, see it for yourself. If they do manage to pull this off, it'd be interesting to see what kind of impact this is going to have on not just the box office, but a lot of different things. In fact, here, instead of saying you just go look it up, I think I still have it. Saved. I had it here a moment ago. Let's see. I know I'd put it up the last couple of days. Yeah, here it is. Check it out. Robert B. Reich. Former, was it Commerce or Treasury Secretary for Clinton. June 14th, No Kings mass protest, June 14th, 2025. That's Saturday. Riot across America. You can look it up and see what it is for yourself. In any case, let me also show you this since I mentioned this a minute ago. No, that's not the one I thought it was. That's the Switch 2, Nintendo Switch 2 has sold very, very well. I told y'all out of the gate, the early adopters were going to come out and they were going to snap this thing up. I know people were, it's too much, too expensive, nobody's going to buy it. I'm like, look, I can't predict the quality of it, but I can predict the fandom out there, and they snapped it up. I mean, they're still almost impossible to find. 3.5 million units sold in the first 4 days. It's the fastest selling Nintendo system ever. And it's the most expensive one. So there you go. I thought I had another one. I thought I had reposted. It might have been a while back. But whenever it was that Nintendo, I had so many things from the news this week. But I wanted to see if I could find the one for where it was that Nintendo announced. I had shared it. Wait. Did I just see it? Ew. God, please don't bring it to Marvel Studios. I can't find it. Oh, well. It was their announcement of the move. Hey, we need... Well, look, here's the poll. This is the poll I was talking about. I screenshot it. That was... The poll hadn't even finished yet. But that's what I was talking about right there. Was that poll of what people thought was going to be the biggest movie this summer. And it's very indicative of how little faith people have in Fantastic Four. And I'm going to show you some of the projections here because we do have some, and we talked a little bit about the other day. Sean Robbins, who used to do Box Office Pro and then started his own blog on Substack. I've subscribed to him. I've given him the $80 a year because I loved his stuff on Box Office Pro. And, he went off and he did his own thing again. He built up Box Office Pro, and then now he's doing something else. And, I'm happy to support him. So when, look, you guys send me money for Super Chats, I'm taking a $100 Super Chat and I'm turning right around and I'm investing in the people that provide us good quality information. It's all about business here. So thank you guys for supporting some of these kind of endeavors. But it does not bode well. It does not bode well for F4, and neither does Pedro Pascal opening his mouth. Let me see. 8 Eastern. Yes. Okay. So, hang on. Mr. Coleman is texting me. All right, so it looks like Ron will be here in about 30 minutes. So that's great because we'll get to do another story between now and then when Ron gets here. So hang tight. And again, I'm a little thrown off because we started about half an hour late today because I had extra work stuff. But let me get back into this real quick. What is up, John Cookask? What's up, Sean? Happy birthday to me. Oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday. He got made a wrench last night on the Renegade Nation channel. Well, happy birthday to you, my friend. Thank you for always being so generous here. Everybody give John Cookask here, also known as Sean. Give him a little happy birthday out there in the chat. Been one of our biggest and longest fans. It's big and long. Haywood, you blow me. Gifted 5 Valiant Renegade channel memberships. Thank you, Haywood. Good to see you as well. James all day. For 5. Did you hear about what Mark Ruffalo said about the LA riots? Dude, I have so many things pinned in freaking X, dude. Of this actor said this, and I lost track. I know Mark Ruffalo was in there. It's probably still in my bookmarks. But I had one that was like, Mark Ruffalo said, and then this guy said, and this guy. So I'm like, dude, it's like I could do a whole show just reading retarded stuff that Hollywood actors say about the Democrat riots. Oh. Glade Riven is dangerously sober. Member for 5 months. The only peeps showing up for Chicago protests this weekend are those who don't have Wisconsin Dells water park tickets. They vacay up here. Oh, God. Uh, I'm sorry you have to deal with that. John Maynard gifted 5 Valiant Renegade channel memberships. Thank you all so damn much. Appreciate you. Oh, how did this one get hopped over? I'm sorry, Bad News Badger. I was like, wait, there was an orange one. Where did the orange one go? Bad News Badger for 200 Danish krona. I don't use an ad block because I'm against YouTube, want to make some money. I use it because, I see. I don't use ad blocks because I'm against YouTube and wants to make some money. I use it because a 5-minute video lasts for 30 minutes without one, and 95% of those ads are some crypto trash or other unverified scam attempts. You know, I guess, like I said, because of where you are, Bad News Badger, obviously you have a completely different ad experience than most of the audience watching here in the U.S. I mean, I've got YouTube Premium. I don't know how ad blockers really work. I mean, if they're going to run an ad, maybe it works differently. I don't know if an ad blocker would work here. But I consume so much YouTube and obviously produce a lot of YouTube. I produce I probably consume more than I produce on an hourly basis. But I mean, I pay YouTube as $15 a month for the premium. To me, I definitely get my money's worth out of that. More so than Netflix and everything. And look, because I'm one of those that, yes, I watch Netflix, but I'm on an hourly basis each week. I almost certainly consume a significantly higher amount of YouTube than I do Netflix. So thank you, Bad News Badger. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the $20, dude. Jay says, speaking of birthdays, I turned 43 on Saturday. Happy birthday, Jay. Turning into a birthday show in here. We've got 850 of you watching. I don't know how many of that's on YouTube. 550, it looks like, on YouTube. And look, a lot of people were telling me last night, I think this was on the member show, that a lot of our like high-level members, our rebels and our renegades, people that pay $10 and $20 a month for those memberships. You get some $10 and $20 super chats every month with those memberships too. So your money goes right back into the chat. Number one. Number two, you get to show up for special membership shows and jump on the screen with me too, if you do the renegade level member. But even them, some of them are not getting notifications. We put out a video, they don't get a notification. We do a live show like tonight, they don't get a notification. Now, a lot of the audience out there just reflexively knows, oh, hey, it's 5 o'clock Central on a Sunday or a Wednesday, VR's on, right? But they're not getting notifications for it. We did a member show last night. I set it up an hour in advance, and some people got both notifications. Some people got 0 notifications and just happened to see it when they went onto a YouTube homepage. So make sure you've got notifications set if you want to have them, if you want to know when we go live for this one and the Renegade Nation channel if you want to do that one too. Yeah. So not everybody's getting stuff. Not everybody is getting their notifications. All right, let me. I'm trying to. Well, let me stick with finishing the box office stuff here because I think I wanted to get to. Come on. This is for F1. Now, where's my early tracking one? Where did I have it? This is what happens on Wednesdays, and I wait to the last minute to load all the assets in here right as we're starting, and then I can't find a damn thing because I'm stupid. Really, really stupid. Might have just used this one. Let's just go back here. We'll just use the Substack. Speaking of the Substack here, this is what I'm talking about. This is Sean Robbins. This is his. Now he's the box office theory thing. He's got a public facing side. There's also a subscription side. A lot of it is on the public facing side. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that either. I'll get this right one time. There we go. Now I finally got it right. But like I said, I was happy to support him for the extra, $80 or whatever it was for the whole year. Because he does really good work, and I cite his stuff quite frequently, and I have for a number of years here on YouTube, and we'll continue to do so because I think he does fine work. Now, this is from May 16th, but I'm going to go out to the main screen here. Oh, good. I think he updated this. Yes. I think, yes. This wasn't here earlier today. Thank you, Sean. This is his update for the weekend. So we're going to try to tie this in with the Variety and the information from Variety and Deadline here. How to Train Your Dragon. So he's pushed it, traditional industry tracking, puts it at 65, right? 65 to 75. And that's kind of what Deadline had. Variety had it about 65. He is using his box office theory. His algorithm is telling him 70 to 80 million. So he's already pushing that up. Probably because he's realizing that, like we've had before, like we mentioned with Minecraft and with How to Train Your Dragon, is that sometimes it's very difficult to read what that walk-up traffic that you cannot fully predict is going to look like. Dragon has remained fairly consistent in pre-release tracking since our initial public projection of 65 plus, gaining some upside with strong early access sales. Screening Wednesday night and assumed to end up included with the weekend gross. Those combined with Thursday previews could tally close to 10 million, give or take a bit. Not dissimilar from Lilo and Stitch, tracking is best among women, particularly millennials and parents who grew up with the original animated trilogy and will look to introduce this live-action iteration to their younger families. Which it wasn't that long ago, guys. So I don't know how many parents there are that were little kids when the first one came out. I think statistically there couldn't be that many unless we got some really, really young moms out there. But again, what it's looking like to this point, and this is kind of what I wanted to bring down. This is what he's seeing for the weekend. He's seeing Ballerina at about 11.7 million. Lilo and Stitch. Now look at this. I had not seen this yet. What did I tell you a minute ago? Deadline was saying 20 million, and I still said, before I saw that Deadline had it at 20 million for Lilo and Stitch this coming weekend, I said, I feel like this thing is going to be around 15. I said it could get as bad as 12, if you factor in the loss of all the PLF screens and everything else. But look at what Sean Robbins has. 14. He's seeing 14 with his model for Lilo and Stitch. Let's see who's right. Let's see who's closest this weekend. I'm more in the camp of Sean here. I'm more in this camp with Sean. I think Lilo and Stitch is going to take a bigger hit because of How to Train Your Dragon is direct competition. When a movie like Lilo and Stitch has already got almost 350 million in the till, and that audience is now being presented with an alternative, which the chances that a lot of that audience goes back to see it again versus going to see the new thing, because these two movies go after the exact same audience. So I'm in Sean's camp here. Y'all tell me in the chat. Y'all think Deadline's going to be right at 20 million, or y'all think me and Sean are going to be right? I'm not. I don't know. This is just fun for me. So, like I said, I'm not going to be offended if I'm dead wrong. Lilo and Stitch could come out there and hang a $25 million weekend on it and go, boom. But I'm seeing 15. That's what I feel like right now. I'm seeing 15. Again, you cannot underestimate the losses of PLFs because, like at my movie theater, I've told you all this before, a regular movie ticket, right, to like a non-PLF screen is about $14. The ticket to the PLF screen is almost $18. That's a big difference. So when all of a sudden the big movie like Lilo and Stitch, when every ticket being bought or almost every single ticket being bought is an almost $18 ticket, and now the next weekend, if just the same audience, the same number of butts and seats show up, but now the tickets are $14, that's like a 20-something% drop. Right there. That's almost 20% just with that. Not even counting that half the number of people will show up that showed up the weekend before. That's what I'm saying. If Lilo and Stitch just repeats the drop of about 50%, and then you tack on the fact that it's also losing all of the PLF screens, it could be closer to a 60% drop. So that's what I'm saying. And we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens. I'd be really impressed if they lose all the PLFs and they still pull off $20 million for the weekend. That would be impressive to me. Very impressive to me. So, yeah. The Phoenician scheme. I really want to go see that. I just don't know when I'm going to have time. That looks so good. That looks so freaking funny. I already have a ticket to F1. I have an IMAX ticket to F1, so I will be going to see that. But I want to go back here on this. I'm thrown off because I do not have. I still need to recharge the battery in my Apple mouse. I have two of them, and they're both dead right now. This is how stupid I get with these things. Tracking and forecast. I want to go over here because this is one of the ones, and this is super early. Like I said, I think we pulled this up before. You know, Sean's got Fantastic Four First Steps at maybe $125 million opening weekend. This is July 24th. That's really, really far out. But the thing is, they're already starting to sell tickets for this. There's a problem with that. There's a real big problem with that. Let me go down here and show you the chart that he's got, because we showed you this the other day. All right, you look at July 11th, Superman. He's thinking 154 to 185 million. And the Fantastic Four, 125 to 155. Again, I question if that actually can happen, just considering the seeming lack of interest out there. Because here's the deal. Superman busted records today when it comes to box office. If it had the largest, and not a huge record, I think it was just for this year. But Superman coming out July 11th, tickets went on sale. Amazon loaded them up, and they scored the highest number of first-day ticket pre-sales of any movie so far this year. So apparently, significantly outperformed Superman. So again, this is kind of going towards the notion that that ERC poll that we pulled up is going to turn out to be right. Fantastic Four is going to be, of those three big summer action movies, Fantastic Four, I think, is going to be decidedly in last place. And probably maybe even by a couple $100 million. It could be pretty bad. Let's check this one out from thatparkplace.com. We got Superman beats Fantastic Four in first day advance ticket sales as DC surges ahead of Marvel. Now, there were several articles on this. Deadline and some other places had this, but we have an article up here on thatparkplace.com. Please make sure if you're not checking out thatparkplace.com each and every day, you should be, because we got a lot of good stuff over there. We have a lot of good stuff over there. James Gunn's Superman is flying high, with official data from Fandango revealing that Amazon Prime early access screenings. I tried to get one of these things today for Superman, and I could not get it to work. I don't know what was going on. I logged in Amazon Prime. It took me over to Fandango. I'm trying to click in to buy the tickets for the 7 o'clock show on a Tuesday or something like this. Couldn't get the damn thing to work. I don't know if that means – it might mean that they were completely sold out. I just don't know. It didn't say that, though. But they, there was this report that it busted the servers on Fandango because people were trying to get in so quickly. But this is it. I mean, it's according to Fandango, the July 8th Amazon exclusive preview for showings for Superman. So that's 3 days. 3 days before the movie comes out. Became the best first day ticket seller of the year, topping an even early sales of Fantastic Four. The film's Amazon screenings are part of a partnership that gives Prime members early access to IMAX and 3D showings, a limited rollout that nonetheless racked up massive interest. So there you have it. Besides the Amazon screenings, full nationwide ticket sales for Superman opened today, alongside the debut of the film's final trailer, which came out this morning. I'd love to play the trailer right now and go through it with you. But that'll get this stream killed. Warner Brothers is a bitch when it comes to, I mean, even if I started and stopped and paused a million times, 5 seconds of a Warner Brothers trailer, you get popped. They have a very, very harsh copyright department. I could be talking over the trailer the entire time. They'd probably still find it and pop me, which is I hate. It's a trailer. You want people to see it. Let us play it, for God's sake. They copyright claim the stream, take all the revenue from it. But there you go. So we're not going to play it. But y'all can go watch it. I think the link. Yep, there's the link to it right there. You can go over to that Park Place. We've got it right there for you from the official DC YouTube page. In a recently released 2025 moviegoing trends and insight study based on a survey of more than 5,000 moviegoers, Fandango listed Superman among the most anticipated films of the summer. A follow-up survey of 9,000 ticket buyers highlighted Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor as one of the most anticipated performances of the year, indicating the film's appeal stretches beyond its title character. And that can go a long way. What that means is, and this is key, this is the difference between Superman, at least at this moment in time, based on the information that we have in front of us several weeks before this movie releases, albeit about a month before this movie releases. But as of right now, the normie interest in Superman is much higher than anything that we've gotten from Marvel for the last 4 years. That was Disney and it wasn't Deadpool. And you look at the averages, Captain Falcon DEI, about 400 million. Thunderbolts, it's over. It's not going to get anywhere close. It's 376 million. It's finished. It's probably not going to even make it to 380 at this point. 110, maybe $120 million loss for Disney on that one. Fantastic Four, honestly, I don't know if Fantastic Four is going to do a whole lot better. I don't know if Fantastic Four is going to do much better than 500 million globally. Maybe 6 if it's really lucky. It's really early to tell on that one. But if that movie sucks, like a lot of people think it's going to suck, again, the normie audience has checked out. But with the interest in Superman, what that tells me is that the normie audience out there is very hungry for a good, something new. This idea that superhero movies are dead. There's superhero movie fatigue. We've talked about that theory, and that's basically all it is a theory. Has been disproven time and time again. What people are tired of is really, really crappy movies. They're tired of garbage. They're tired of wasting $20 a ticket and 3 or 4 hours of their lives going to sit through recycled trash, DEI trash, girl boss intersectional feminist trash, which is what largely the MCU has just become. Get ready for Ironheart. I can't wait for Ironheart. It's just a few weeks away, y'all. I really don't want to watch Ironheart, but I know I'm going to have to watch Ironheart because there's no way that we're not talking about that train wreck. That train wreck. Oh, my God. But the normie audience is interested in Superman. They're really, like me, they're really curious. They're like, okay, I'm going to give this a chance, right? This is a whole new ball game for DC, for Warner Brothers. Let's see what they've got here. And if it turns out to be a disappointment, it's going to kill the rest of the DC universe. They have to have a hit with this, or at least a very big crowd pleaser. So there you have it. Superman has reportedly blown past the Fantastic Four ticket sales, becoming the #1 first-day ticket seller of the year. Remember, Marvel people, the Marvel stands, the Disney Marvel stands, the same people that are the Disney Star Wars stands, man, they show up, they will wait in line, they think that they are the majority, and they're not, and then we find out that most of these projects, these properties, they hit a brick wall. Again, we can go back time and time again. Marvel movies have some of the biggest openings, and I'm talking post-COVID Marvel. I'm talking about phases 4 and 5. You got these Marvel movies that have some very, very big openings, and then they very, very quickly slam violently into a brick wall of apathy. I don't think Fantastic Four is going to be any different. Especially when you got a guy like, Pedro Pascal. I don't want to see that movie because I don't want to see Pedro Pascal anymore. Like that dude has become just obnoxious beyond belief. I'm so sick of him. And a lot of people are getting real sick of him. And the problem is he's already attached to so many projects that are just going to die because he's in them. I think Fantastic Four is going to suffer to some degree. Obviously, it's very hard to put a figure on that, but it would not all surprise me that a guy like Pedro Pascal alone could probably cost $100 million in box office, just because there's people out there like, oh, no, I can't go watch him in anything. Early box office projections suggest that you could have $100+ million opening, 155 to 175. That's talking about Sean Robbins' numbers, I'm sure, is a big part of it. I think we're going to start seeing some more numbers as we get closer. Hopefully, other publications like Variety and Deadline will start taking stabs at things maybe about 2 weeks from now. But hey, this is it. Like I said, I'm going to get tickets for it. I was trying to get those Prime tickets, but I'm guessing they sold out because, I tried to do it and wouldn't let me do it. What are you guys in the chat? You guys kind of excited to go see this? Are y'all interested in seeing the new Superman movie? I'm curious. I really, really am. So I'm going to get tickets. I'm going to go see it, guys. Y'all let me know. Let me go back here. I got to clear out the super chats we just did. Okay. I know we got a few more. Y'all keep sending them in. We'll get to every super chat. You know how it works here. I just want to make sure there's nothing else I need to kind of wrap up here before. Oops. I didn't want to do that. Before Ron Coleman joins us here in a few minutes. And then we're going to talk about this lawsuit business, because that'll be the next big topic. But I think that gets us caught up on this real quick. But I don't have time to go through. This is what we're going to talk about in a little bit. Talk about the Pedro Pascal thing. Some of y'all have seen this clip out there. It comes from, let me see if I can play the clip first. I think I saved it. Frickin' X, man. Yeah. Where is it? Damn it. I have too many bookmarks to keep track of. Good God. DC News. Oh, here it is. Jeez, my head.
Oh, okay.
I have to, oh God. I'm going to have to put the headphones in for this. Hang on a second. Which I got to put the headphones in anyway. Let me give a little preview of what I'm talking about with this Pedro Pascal thing. This is so stupid. Sorry, I didn't realize I was still stuck in the corner. Let me share the tab here. Y'all can see. And I have not watched the whole interview. I'm just dead curious. Let's see if we have time to get to the whole thing. It's him and Dakota Johnson doing this thing with Vogue.
How to be a bitch 101.
I could just stop right there. I could just stop right there. Do I need to keep going? I think I need to keep going. I need to keep going. This is the short clip. Oh my God. He is such a little bitch.
How to be a bitch 101. Literature.
Oh,
Teach
okay.
literature.
He can't read.
I would teach you how to read.
No.
And then I would teach you how to be a
Thank
bitch
you.
who reads.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Fantastic. Reed Richards, ladies and gentlemen. Smartest man in the universe. God. I know he's making a joke. I know he's doing a bit, but here's the thing: is that it'd be one thing like if Chris Pratt was doing this bit, I'd be laughing at it because it's Chris Pratt. With Pedro, I don't think he's joking all that much. I think it's just really him. Look, you know what? Screw it. I'm doing it anyway. I know you don't want to see it. I'm gonna play it anyway. Y'all can just, you don't like it? Fine. I don't care. You can go to hell. But I'm gonna.
I want to remind everyone that this is absolutely not gay.
I mean,
How to be a bitch 101.
we know you already know.
Literature.
Oh,
Like to teach
okay.
literature.
He can't read.
I would teach you how to read,
No.
and then I would teach you how to be a
Thank
bitch
you.
who reads.
Oh,
This movie's gonna be a hit. just shoot me now. Oh God. There's a whole interview. I have not watched. It's like 10 minutes. It's not super long, but I figured I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna do a cold reaction. I love doing the cold reactions with you guys in the audience. The interview could be like, except for that one thing, the interview could be an absolute bore fest. I have no idea, but I have a feeling there's some really stupid stuff in there because it's Pedro. It's Pedro. It's Pride Month, and it's Pedro. And it's Pedro, and it's Pride Month. It's just, God help me. Anyway, Ron Coleman, come bail me out. What time is it? 1 minute. I'll see you in 1 minute, Ron. I don't even know if Ron's in the chat. It's one of my favorite areas, John Thomas. I visit there a couple times a year. Good place. I love Chattanooga. I'm actually looking at trying to find some property up there. I've actually been shopping for a while. Love Chattanooga. Speak of the devil. And he appears.
Chattanooga?
No, yeah.
Is that what they call me?
The Chattanooga devil. Yeah.
I'm the Jersey Devil.
The Jersey Devil. There we go. That episode of
doing?
Seinfeld. The Devils. We are the Devils. You remember that one? I think that was the first one where it was Patrick Warburton came in as Elaine's crazy boyfriend who did the face paint.
Oh.
And remember,
Oh.
do you remember?
Yes.
And he jumps out at the car. There's the Italian priest in the car, and he's got the face paint on, and he's going, "We are the devils." And the guy, like, he starts doing the sign of the cross. He thinks he's really, oh God, every time there's more Seinfeld references to life than I think Simpsons references. I go back and I think about this more and more.
Well, after all, Seinfeld is a little bit more realistic than The Simpsons.
Very much so. So, we were talking about this story, very interesting story here, and I know our friend Jonas Campbell has kind of read through a good bit of it, and he and I were talking this morning on this lawsuit thing that's going on with the Walt Disney Company and Universal Comcast that has gone ahead and decided, we found a little AI company that we're gonna take a shot at here, and it's a really interesting one. And let me switch my screen share here so I can pull it up. And we've got another article here from that Park Place that we can just kind of go along with. But Ron, did you get a chance to kind of take a look at this?
I had a chance to kind of take a look at it.
Yep, there we go. Disney and Universal are joining forces to sue Midjourney over artificial intelligence images of Darth Vader, Elsa, minions, and more. And a lot of this is limited to the characters themselves, especially if they're animated characters. Minions, Rise, the little animated characters there. But we'll kind of walk through this because there are some interesting pieces to this. Basically, what's happening is you have this company, Midjourney, who's been advertising, their artificial intelligence software, selling it, and in some cases using some of these AI generated images of these copyrighted assets and characters that belong to Disney and Comcast, Universal. And so now these two companies they've joined forces together in one lawsuit, which I guess when you think of this, normally you think of like a class action, but when you actually have two plaintiffs here that have joined together, that doesn't really make it a class, does it, Ron? It's just
No.
okay. So this is just for efficiency, basically. If you're going to
Yeah,
sue somebody,
they have essentially the same claims,
mm-hmm.
and they're saying they're doing this to us and they're doing this to them. In fact, in intellectual property, it's not uncommon. For example, when I did a lot of counterfeiting work,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we would locate we would identify a website that was selling counterfeits of Rolex and Louis Vuitton, and what we would do actually is sometimes pitch the clients on doing a lawsuit was saying these guys are selling knockoffs of your stuff. We're trying to get together a bunch of plaintiffs, and this way, instead of everyone spending $100,000, everyone's spending $20,000.
Yeah.
Why so little? Because those cases usually ended up being defaults. But the point is, yeah, there's no reason if it's the same offense and it's the same technology and everything's the same. Disney and Universal are both being harmed the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what it seems like. So we'll get into the particulars here that was published today on that Park Place, and there's some other articles out there from THR, from Variety, from Deadline. The war over AI and intellectual property just hit a hyperspace as Disney and Comcast Universal bring the hammer down on AI company Midjourney. In a dramatic escalation, the entertainment industry's pushback against generative AI, Disney and Comcast have filed a joint copyright lawsuit against the popular image generator. And I believe they had sent, back in, I think November it was, Jonas told me they had sent some cease and desists. They had kind of, hey, stop doing this, stop doing that. I guess Midjourney said, hey, try me, asshole. And now this is where we are, so they decided to go ahead with the suit.
So I will tell you something about that. So my understanding is that Midjourney is not necessarily the biggest problem that these guys have. So, I've represented defendants as well as plaintiffs in these situations.
Mm-hmm.
And there are two considerations. One is sometimes plaintiffs send out, they have a campaign. So, okay, we got to get on top of this, or at least look like we're not acceding to it. So it's time to send out a bunch of cease and desist letters. And you then sometimes take make an educated guess. How many of us are going to get sued? Are they going to sue all of us? Are they going to sue one of us? Who's going to make some example out of us? So they may have figured maybe we'll get away with this one. Maybe we won't be the guys. But there's also a problem, which is that sometimes a defendant who was accused of infringement will say, I don't really have a problem in theory settling with Disney or settling with Universal. But if I settle with Disney and Universal, or even just one of them, their lawyers are going to now hit up all the other studios and all the other IP owners and say, that settlement we got against Midjourney, we can get that for you too. So
right.
It makes sense sometimes to settle out one company, but often what all you're doing is making an open invitation to, and here's their problem. This is their business.
Yeah.
This is their business.
Right, exactly. And the business of making the software that can do this, that gathers data from an open library, just like Grok does. And this is kind of the thing, right? This is something that Jonas and I were hypothesizing about earlier. Midjourney is relatively very small company. A tiny fraction of a fraction compared to some of these bigger players out there. And it may be easier to muscle them, and if they can get the kind of ruling that they would hope for, it might make it a lot easier to go after the Groks and everybody else. Because right now, I can go into Grok and I can say, create an image of the minions, hitting Joe Biden on the head with a wiffle bat, something like this, and it'll take it and make it look just like the minions, as if Universal and Illumination Studios made it, and all this kind of stuff. Now, in this lawsuit, there's apparently they're not. It's the characters, right? Vader has a mask on, but they're not going after images that Midjourney create for money, basically, right? People pay for the software, they pay for the subscription, and they're generating images with copyrighted material. They're not going after like Luke Skywalker holding a lightsaber, because we presume that, well, that would be up to Mark Hamill to go after them for his likeness, as opposed to an original created character. And to what we said was, I think I made the comment of like Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. So somebody generates an image of Chris Pratt as Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not part of this suit. Everything listed in there seemed to be like an animated character. But if they made Star-Lord from the Disney Marvel comic book, that would be included in this suit, because it's not Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. So it's kind of interesting how they set this up. I look at this and I think there's probably something to this. There's probably something here. It is their business model, obviously, for Midjourney to make this product that can do this. But these products also just kind of go out openly on the web and do X, Y, and Z. Now, some other companies out there have been more cautious. Like, I can tell you from personal experience, Ron, when Adobe Firefly first came out, and I think that's been around for at least a year, maybe longer now, but that's their generative AI product from Adobe. I can't go in there and tell Adobe Firefly to generate an AI image of, say, like an actual person that will really look like that actual person when it renders. Or say, like, hey, make a picture of, like I've done it on Grok. Make a picture of Mickey Mouse crying at the feet of Donald Trump in a courtroom. It was like we made that image and we used it as a thumbnail for a show, right? I can't do that in Firefly, because it'll tell you it's, there's copyrighted, personalities like Mickey Mouse or whatnot in there. So some of the bigger ones have done this, some have not. So what happens, like I said here, if Disney gets, let's say they don't settle, I don't know, maybe they fight it out. Now, if they settle it, what's the difference between them settling it versus going to court and getting a court victory that says Disney and Universal, you win, okay, on your claims? There's a precedent that gets set there, does it not, that they could then proceed on to bigger fish like X and Grok?
That is true. That is true. It is a settlement at the district court level is not necessarily all that controlling, but it's exactly, and John G pointed out in the comments that they're obviously targeting a smaller company so that they'll be able to get a quick and dirty victory.
Right. That was our thought.
They might not accept. Yeah, they might not accept a settlement. There's a lot of moving parts here, because, as you point out, they were looking for trouble by using the characters, by just really using very poorly disguised or hardly disguised at all, from the pictures I see in the complaint, versions of those characters. They were asking for trouble. What I think I'll tell you, when I was a teenager, I worked in a Carvel ice cream store. And among the skills I developed was making ice cream cakes with pictures on them with a little projector. And people very frequently wanted Mickey Mouse on the ice cream cake. And it was understood we could never do Disney, because I think they had actually been sued by Disney.
I remember that. Yeah.
And
I've had similar experiences.
it is, you know, I understand from the point of view of trademark infringement, trademark maintenance, why companies have to do this, but I think it really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
People should be able to make trivial use of characters, and into, I mean, you know, YouTube is the worst example of this. You can't use a snatch of music from something where it's obviously not. It's not an infringing use. You're using it.
Yeah, like a fair
it's a
use kind of
problem.
thing.
But one of the really interesting things about this lawsuit is they're going on this, not only on the fact that the software will deliver an infringing version of the character, but also that they're training the large language models or the large image models. I'm not sure what the terminology is, on the Disney and Universal IP. Mm-hmm. And I've got a much bigger problem with this idea that, and this is you know, something that that came up in the writer's strike in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. This idea of training AI on our proprietary material. Mm-hmm. I think that's a much harder argument to win. Yeah, and it's interesting. It's interesting for the studios to take that approach in this lawsuit. Mm-hmm. It could come back to bite them in the ass when they start using AI trained on people, you know, on materials that artists and writers have produced for them.
It could, you know, the interesting part about that, the last part that you said, is that this is kind of one of the things that has been a real bone of contention, a sticking point in the recent Hollywood strikes from like a year or two ago now, when you had SAG-AFTRA, the Actors Guild, and you had the WGA, the Writers Guild, that spent almost the entirety of between the two of them, almost the entire year of 2023 was shot, right? Because they were on strike. And one of the things that they were hammering in the negotiations was the issue of artificial intelligence in there and the use of it to either replace writers, or if there has to be, the issue was there was no rules in place. How are we going to handle this? We need something clear cut to try to handle the use of it. So, you know, one of the things recently, and I don't know if you saw this. Let me see if I have. Ron, did you see us discussing the story about, you know, how Epic Games, you know, when Disney did the whole $1.5 billion partnership with Epic Games, the guys who make Fortnite, right? Well, they just had a big thing where they put Darth Vader in Fortnite as an artificial intelligence character. That he's in there. He can actually, so like traditionally in Fortnite, you might run around a map and there might be a non-playable character that you can hire to go fight with you so you can win the match and help you out, you know, kill other players in there. Well, this NPC, this hireable player for the last season, the last 30 days, was Darth Vader. And he had artificial intelligence built into him to where he could react to you and respond to questions you asked him during the live chat while you're playing. I don't know if you saw any of this.
No, I didn't.
All right, check this out. So this is some of the AI. Watch this.
I hate the new sequel movies. I don't like them.
The sequels, eh? A narrative wasteland, devoid of compelling vision or memorable characters. They are pale imitations, Snake. Do you find such mediocrity palatable?
So not only did they...
That's so cool.
Now, this is the thing. So James Earl Jones, before he died... and everything was set up with him and his estate to where he granted Disney Lucasfilm the rights to his voice to AI it so they could continue to make Darth Vader. And in this case, they put him in the Fortnite games. Now, what's funny is if you didn't catch what he said, the guy said, I hate the Disney sequel trilogies. And Vader, in James Earl Jones's voice, trashes the Disney sequel trilogies. And it's a Disney product, trashing other Disney. So you would not believe what they had. I can't play half the stuff that they had Vader do, but there are scores of videos on YouTube right now. It's James Earl Jones singing Snoop Dogg songs full of F words, N words, and everything else in Fortnite. But anyway, so
but the point is, this was a deal made between Disney and Fortnite, right?
Yeah, Disney, Fortnite, and James Earl Jones. So this was all.
But they didn't program it to not say bad things and to not say four-letter words.
Somebody did not have the foresight to do that. Yeah, so it was very quickly the Fortnite community of, I mean, tens of millions of players around the world figured out very quickly how to get this AI to do some really funny stuff. And it was, but the point is that this is kind of one of those things where you have a set of rules here for that, right? You had the actor that was involved that granted his permission to the people that own the character that he was the voice for. They had an agreement with the game maker, an investment in the game maker, and boom. The problem with Midjourney is that this is just like an open architecture AI, much like Grok and kind of everything else, where it just goes out into Google and DuckDuckGo or Microsoft Bing. I'm just kidding. Nobody uses that shit. It's like, and it just says, oh, you're looking for a picture of Donald Trump doing something or Joe Biden doing something or Maxine Waters with her face as an actual prune. It's very close to it. It will do it. I mean,
it's fascinating. I mean, it seems like they should be able to program around that to a large extent. People will then try to hack it.
Yep.
But let's face it, the more powerful, if you can make a deal with, with an established game studio, but the technology is out there and it's in use. And to some extent, this is a little bit like when the studios all sued Betamax, sued Sony over the Betamax.
Yep.
And an extremely important case in the history of intellectual property law, the court said, Betamax isn't infringing anything. They made a tool.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
that's interesting.
Where you end up making the tool, how far up the curve the tool goes toward the infringement is always going to be an interesting question. But that was a game changer, right?
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the era that we live in now, where unlike when I grew up, you had to wait for something to come on TV and watch it whenever the hell the networks and the studios decided that you would get to watch it. And that was the beginning of time shifting.
Yeah.
And, eventually we live in a world of streaming. Well, this technology is going to be ultimately uncontrollable. Someone in the chat said, Stone in China is going to do it, and they're not going to give a shit about what the Ninth Circuit says. And that is true. And, I'm okay with that because I don't believe that there's going to be a failure of incentive.
No, Midjourney is not based in China. As far to my knowledge, this is
even though China is Middle Earth, you might very well have thought that, but
because if memory serves, the Betamax thing that you just mentioned, that was when wasn't the issue at hand that you could get a Betamax machine, you could pop a tape in and record something that was on TV, and then because you were
I thought everybody knew that.
Right.
No.
That's what I thought.
And VHS were the two competing home video recording formats.
The last time that Sony ever lost a format war was Betamax.
Well, and interestingly, Sony would subsequently become a studio.
Yeah.
They said it was not standing in the feet of being a studio. It was standing in the feet of being of being the technology company, which it hardly is anymore.
Well, there's still a lot of technology too. I mean, there's still a big side of it, but that's still.
It is not. It's not a pioneer the way it was. I mean, if it weren't for gaming, in fact, I don't know how much Sony would be. Sony used to be the go-to company for not for high-end
Mhm.
You're an audiophile in addition to being a photographer, right?
Yep.
So you know what I'm talking about. You don't
All
look to
the stuff
Sony
right
for
next
that.
to me. Yeah, no.
But in terms of portable, that they really they were dominant, in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, they absolutely were, and they still have a good place out there. But I mean, they have a lot of commercial, industrial lines, and I think other stuff they make beyond that. Because I mean, even a lot of those companies out there that would make electronics, they'd have a whole other side of things where they would make digital imaging products for, medical devices and industrial uses and all kind of stuff. It's been a while since I looked at the diversity of Sony in terms of their corporate structure and their different lines, but. Yeah, gaming, movies, and film studios, especially after buying up Columbia TriStar and all kind of other things. But I mean, to this end, though, with this lawsuit, it's interesting, right? Because I could make a really easy argument for Disney and Comcast absolutely have, I think, a claim here, in my layperson's opinion. I could probably also see from the other side where if you're mid-journey, like I said, that was a really interesting kind of comparison, saying that it's like Sony and the Betamax lawsuit because but at the same time,
I think they went further up that curve of completion. They deliver you a fixed product, and look, you have the right to control your characters.
Yeah. But and that may be, that's what's going to eventually have to come out of this. You're going to have, and I hate to say this because I hate saying that we need more laws. I hate that. But there is going to need to be some kind of fine line created between, and this is the problem, like you said, fair use versus, to me, it's if I'm making a little thumbnail to put on a YouTube video or something like this, or to show a funny image on the screen, whatever. I'm not trying to generate an artificial intelligence image and then say, this is my really cool image of the Minions meet this character in Darth Vader, and then go online, print it out, right, and then sell it for $1,000 a pop as a poster or something like this. And you just, speaking of fair use, like I said, YouTube is very picky. It depends on the studio. Before you got here, we were talking about the box office tracking for Superman. I would love to play the trailer for Superman, stop it every 2 or 3 seconds, and talk about what's in there. You know why I can't do it? Because Warner Brothers is the worst when it comes to YouTube. If you
it's ridiculous, and it's utterly ridiculous. There could be no more fair use than exactly what you just described.
Exactly. But
it's statutorily defined as reporting and commentary being an exception.
Yeah.
YouTube is in its own insane world, and they have done so much to distort the creative process and the law of copyright and expectations, and and you just made a really good point. We hate to find ourselves saying we need more laws, but the fact is, Congress has for so long ceased to be a deliberative lawmaking institution. It's just a political mudslinging organization now. If they could ever get their heads out of their own rectums and talk about the kinds of things they talked about not all that long ago, which was, let's talk about policies. These are not necessarily even partisan issues.
Right.
The copyright statute there have been so few changes in copyright law since the digital revolution began. There have been a couple of things along the line, mostly things that Hollywood wanted.
Right. The people that have the lobbyists to go in there and force the issue with a lot of money. Right?
Judges have been making policy in this area, and that's not really what they're supposed to do.
No, legislating. You mean to tell me you're not supposed to legislate from the bench?
Far be it from me.
Look, that is one of those things to where you got to remember. I'm not going to get too far off on a tangent on this one, but I always think back to the original intention of our elected leaders under Article 1. It was meant to be a part-time job. It was meant to you'd go there for a few weeks or a month out of the year. You'd travel to Washington, even with a horse and buggy. You'd get up there, you'd do your job, you'd go back home. You'd go back home and do your day job, right? Now it's full-time. And what's hilarious to me is they've been full time now, obviously for quite a while, but they're full time and they still can't do anything of any use to anybody half the time.
Well,
And,
although to
and
be
when you,
fair, a lot of
when you-
that time is spent raising money for their next reelection
Exactly.
campaign.
exactly.
But we go beyond. We're going beyond the scope of the Valiant Renegade. That sounds more like a Renegade Nation kind
That
of.
is more of a Renegade
discussion.
Nation thing. Yeah, I'll probably do a little bit more coverage tonight if I've still got some energy in me. The last 2 nights have been late, but
But if you haven't subscribed to Renegade Nation, now's the time when it's free.
that's right. Oh wait, we're gonna put it behind a paywall. Is that what we're doing?
Well, only once the demand is just overwhelming.
No, we're not going to do that. By the way, I did kind of let everybody know that, one of the things that we're looking at is you and I maybe kind of trying to do a regular show. It's some periodic interval. We're not entirely sure yet, but I'm trying to work through this week because I have a lot of stuff going on at regular work. I got to get through that's been consuming my time. Good stuff, but stuff nonetheless. And but we're gonna get there, and we might see something on a Thursday. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be some party.
It's gonna be a big party. And in fact, I'm gonna get this. Hang on one second. I'm trying to get over to this just to show everybody the channel, kind of where we are. The problem now is I have to keep switching back and forth between profiles to pull up Renegade Nation. I'm like, wait, which one am I on right now? Am I on Renegade Nation or am I on Valiant Renegade? So here's the channel, kids. You got to get on over here. That is it. That's it right there. We're almost to we're almost to 1,200 subs. And
Come on.
we are right now. There we go. Come on.
You're pushing 6 figures on this channel. Oh, yeah, it takes some time.
We got this on Renegade Nation, and what we need right now is the hours from today haven't caught up yet from the stream last night. And like I was telling people earlier, I haven't had to worry about channel monetization in some time. It's been 4 years basically. So we're over halfway to the 3,000 watch hours that we need for super chats. And I think memberships comes along with that. And we're about 2,000, 2,200, maybe somewhere up in there, watch hours away from ad revenue, which is still at 4,000. So they've broken it up now.
The money press just goes.
Oh yeah,
right into action.
Oh yeah, that's
we'll remember you guys. Not all right. We're gonna have some fun. Valiant, but for tonight, I think I that's my copyright piece.
There you go.
This is, your chat is full of smart people. People really made some very good observations on this topic.
Mm-hmm.
And so many much pay for them, but good stuff out there. And there's some interesting issues here. And thank you for the opportunity to force myself to focus on them. Yeah. Oh, Marcus. We always talk to Marcus.
I was going to say, we got one here from Marcus for $10. For Ron, he says, do you think the Trump DOJ might try and go after the money people behind protests under possibly RICO for conspiring to incite insurrection, domestic stuff?
Yeah, and I already answered Marcus directly on that. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm sure
I
of
just
it.
wanted to read. Yeah, it seems like they've already got some things in motion. So we'll probably...
They do, and really, folks, the fact that you're not hearing stuff, it doesn't mean stuff isn't happening. It has to happen when there's a right time and a wrong time for everything, and the 24/7 social media cycle is not the way to force it. All right, guys, I got to run.
All right, Ron.
As usual, an incredible simulation of reality. We'll talk soon.
Take care. All right, we're going to get back into it here. We've got some more stories to get to, but let me catch up on some... I drank this thing of tea. There's 2 of these black tea, these English breakfast teas. These are caffeine loaded. And I told you I was kind of like running low on energy. Now I started getting that caffeine kick, jitters about 30 minutes ago. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish this off. Whew. Probably not going to go to sleep tonight. I should, but now I'm actually going to be, by the time I finish with this, I'll probably be wired enough to actually want to do another Renegade Nation live show. We'll have to see what the news is going on before I promise anything there, because I don't have anything set up yet, but I'll try to make a decision before we end the show tonight. There will be a break. Normally I'd say I'll hit a redirect, but I don't think I'm going directly over there. So we'll see. Wild Man of Yavin, August birthdays are the best birthdays. They're coming. William Thompson for 5. So I fell asleep and missed being a mod. Was my appearance that bad? I'm almost hurt, but that's okay. Okay, Pookie to call. Oh, no, wait, what? But that's okay. Pookie, me, no care. Just kidding. You talking about last night on the Renegade Nation channel? I have to. Here's the thing. You have to catch a chat in the live chat, in order to make that change. So probably by the time I got the show going, maybe I wouldn't look at as much. I don't know. Well, if you weren't in the chat, or did I miss you, or something? I'll go back and look. I don't know. I'm just getting started on that. But I'll probably need a few more mods. Sean says, "Thank you, VR, for the kindness you always show to me, or you also show to me." Well, thank you very much, sir. We're happy to do it. Appreciate you guys being out there. Staccato's in the house. He was having a few technical issues last night on the member stream, but I think we got sorted out. For $10, Riots will dampen the box office across the board. I think they will as well. Also, Father's Day, and none of those are movies a dad wants to see. I think, here's the thing. The dad's going to wind up going to go see, something that he can see with the kids, especially if they're younger children. How to Train Your Dragon really is kind of one of those things that's kind of perfectly right in the middle. To me, like, Lilo and Stitch is definitely much more kiddie than How to Train Your Dragon, just because of the action element to it, and it's a little bit less kind of goofy. Whereas, Lilo is definitely, or Stitch is definitely, Stitch is very, very silly, right? So it's like, it's not quite the same thing as How to Train Your Dragon. I think normally that would still do well, but yes, I'm curious to see how much the weekend of riots that the Democrats are planning on Saturday, or trying to at this point, are going to have an impact on the box office. I can't see how it doesn't. Low Punter for 2 heard pros Superman plot reveal on Patreon. Ugh. Haven't heard it. Couldn't tell you. Don't know. From what you say, you sound like you're unhappy with it. We'll see. I haven't heard about it. Jean-Michel Gaultier for 5 Canadian smackers. I think you're overestimating Superman's potential. Previews look awful. New Superman actor looks like a wimp. Suit looks awful. Open the sink. I guess that's sink. Am I reading that right? Open the sink. Look, I'm willing, like I said earlier, I'm willing to give it a chance. I didn't think the trailer was super great. I didn't think it was bad. I'm kind of just, it's enough towards I'm interested. I'm willing to give it a shot. Okay. And part of that is because I'm hungry to actually see a good, like a real superhero film like that again. I don't even put Deadpool and Wolverine in that category because it's Deadpool and Wolverine. It's so much its own thing that even everybody that saw it completely compartmentalized it from the rest of Marvel. No surprise. John Thomas for 5. What's up with the Midnight's Edge video? He was running around a set in women's clothes. Oh, talking about Pedro. Was that the way he was doing like a skit or something on Whiskey Tango Foxtrot? I did see something about that, but I think he was doing a bit for something. It was like a skit or something along those lines. We're gonna play the interview thing next before we close out the show. That wasn't part of that interview. It's a different thing. Marcus Squintus. Oh, wait, that's the one we just got. Thank you, Marcus. Haywood is out there for another 10 Canadian. Totally with you on the apathy. The screaming goats Thor: Love and Thunder killed my interest. Oh, that movie was terrible. Oh god, that movie was so bad. But is it just because it was Thor, it racked up like $750 million because it was Chris Hemsworth and Thor. But it was awful. It should have, I think, especially in that day and age after the ticket price inflation, it should have done a lot better than it did. Just if the same number of people that showed up for, what was it, Ragnarok, if they had gotten just the same audience they got for Ragnarok to show up for Thor: Love and Thunder, that movie would have done over $1 billion just with the ticket price inflation. But they got the women to go see it because Chris Hemsworth got his clothes ripped off, right? In that stupid little scene. You flick too hard, damn it. I'm like, okay, let's get the chicks in just to see that. I get it. It'd be like guys wanting to go see a Sydney Sweeney movie because the boobs come out, right? But yeah, since then, I just don't care. Mildly interested in Superman. Be more like Tom Cruise. Yep. Wildman, if you haven't, for 10, to an extent, I understand the lawsuit. However, if we don't make it, China will. China will eventually create a better model, I guess is what you mean. We'll create a better model and tell all of those angry to go pound sand. The models that we have are good, and they're not asking Midjourney to shut down and close up shop, and they're not trying to shut down Grok. But what they are trying to do is say, hey, when it comes to a specific a piece of property, and this is the thing, somebody like a famous person or somebody's face, especially if you're putting your face out there on the internet, or you're a famous individual whose face is everywhere, or everybody knows you, like if you're Chris Pratt, right? Or Sydney Sweeney, for that matter. It's kind of hard to put the kibosh on that because you're a person versus a created piece of property. And that's what Disney and Universal are going after. They're going after the image of Darth Vader, of the Minions, of Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon or whatever. Artificial intelligence that recreates copyright protected property, actual property, intellectual property. I think there's a good claim there. You don't have to shut down your whole AI, but you're going to have to take steps to ensure that your AI is not going to generate copyright protected intellectual property. And that's why I brought up the example earlier of Adobe Firefly. I tried in Firefly to make some of the AI images with some Disney stuff in it, or Bob Iger or Donald Trump, or pretty much anything. And it won't do it. It won't do it because it'll tell you that we can't generate that. We can't do this. So Adobe had already built in safeguards, apparently, to some degree, to where Firefly, their AI, that's part of the Adobe Photoshop and all that package, but to where it will limit the realm that it can search to generate content, right? Or at least limit what it can be generated. Things like Grok and Midjourney don't have those limitations in place, except for maybe blatant pornography, right? If you go tell Grok to have, we're going to keep using Sydney Sweeney as an example here. If you have, go tell Grok to, have Sydney Sweeney naked doing something, I don't think Grok would be able to generate it. I think it's like, nope, we're not generating porn. You can't. My point is, you can put limitations in there. And the fact that, obviously the allegation is that Disney and Universal both sent a cease and desist letter to the same company, Midjourney, several months ago. Midjourney didn't take any action on it. So now it's like, we're going to haul you to court. And I guess Midjourney decided, all right, let's fight it out. Because if you go to look at what Midjourney actually has, they advertise like in their own, and this is, I think, part of the issue. And this is a conversation I had with Jonas earlier today. And I want to see if it's actually in the article, maybe some of this. I don't know, but the problem that Midjourney was having is that they were actually using some of these images, these artificially intelligent it generated images from their software that contained these copyrighted characters of Disney and Universal Studios. I mean, they were using the generated images, copyrighted material that to advertise their business, to sell more software to do this. That's basically, I mean, if you're a for-profit company like this, that's basically you unzipping your fly and wiggling it right in Disney's face and Comcast Universal's face. You're really pushing the limits. So, you know, and if you go back here, just the way they do this, according to the complaint, Midjourney pirated the libraries of the studios, Creative Works, using their most iconic intellectual properties to train its systems that closely resemble copyrighted characters and designs. AI depictions of Yoda with a lightsaber, Iron Man flying through the clouds, Pixar's Buzz Lightyear in mid-launch. For Universal's Vault, the lawsuit references unauthorized images of Toothless, there you go, Shrek, Poe from Kung Fu Panda, all created through user prompts with the Midjourney platform. They say that they have not only failed to implement safeguards at Midjourney against these outputs, again, the outputs, right? Just kind of like Adobe Firefly has been doing since they've been around, but has continued releasing improved models that produce increasingly detailed likenesses of copyrighted characters, right? Intellectual property. So this is the issue. And this is what they're going to go after here with this suit. But like we said earlier when Ron was here, you could make an argument both ways depending on what the ultimate use is. But I can tell you right now, if I had to guess, this is not going to go in Midjourney's favor. And then it's going to be used as a legal launch pad to then go after things like Grok. Because Grok, you can have Grok make any damn thing you want. There's no filters on it. Like I said, with the exception of making porn or something like that. I'm pretty sure they have a filter for that. So my point is you can do filters. Or I don't know, maybe you can do it on there. I haven't tried it. Somebody tell me, I guess. Has anybody tried that on Grok? Last year, a California judge ruled that a group of artists had presented a plausible case that Midjourney, Stability AI, and other AI image generators had copied their artwork without permission for training purposes. The case is still being litigated and is now likely to be joined by this high-profile corporate suit. So this is kind of it. See, okay. CEO David Holtz of Midjourney may have forecasted this legal storm back in 2022 when he admitted to Forbes magazine that the company's data acquisition process involved, quote, a big scrape of the internet. And that's basically what AI is. That's kind of how it works. It takes a big chunk of what's out there on the internet, right? You can go on Safari or Google or whatever you use right now and type in Minions and do a search. And there's going to be a million images that come up. That's basically all AI is ultimately doing to help it learn and generate images that look just like it. So this is it. They're sitting out there. You know, they didn't have to hack into Disney and Universal to get these images. They're just out there on the internet. But the problem is then using them to sell a piece of software to infringe on said copyright. Let's see here. Let me go back to the super chats. No, not based in China. I think we got that one earlier. Check your Tweety for an AI apropos. Okay. You sent me something over there. Pookie, that's how rumors get started, Bill. Just saying. Wow. Jeez and Pates. All right. A little scary. All right, let's see. I'll try to get back if I have time to get over there and just see. There's some AI stuff. That's the other one of those things is that you have to be careful about playing some of that on here because Oh Jesus! All right, I see. I see what you're talking about. I look like Joe Rogan. That's interesting. All right, I'll figure out what to do with that next time. Hang on a second, packing. I'll try to figure out what to do with that. Maybe Sunday. I'll have time to fiddle with that right now, but I do see it. That's pretty good. All right, so let me switch back over here to to this because I want to get to this Pedro Pascal thing. I want to see what's going on here. Oh no, wrong window. All right, so this is related to a movie they got coming out called The Materialist. I don't know anything about this movie. I don't give a shit. I don't care. But this is related to The Materialist. This is Dakota Johnson and Pedro Pascal debate the virtues of pizza versus pasta in the latest edition of Off the Cuff. Okay, so this is something that Vogue magazine does, but it's a video of Pedro, and apparently there's some I guess some amusing things in here. One of which we already pulled up earlier. But let's see what we got going on here. If I go in the corner, no, this isn't good. Well, I guess it could be. It looks like Dakota Johnson sitting on my. Never mind. All right, let's just play. Let's just go from here.
I got whiplash.
You got whipped.
From 50 Shades. Hi, Vogue. I'm Dakota Johnson.
That's a okay.
And
I am
Pedro Pascal.
I am Pedro Pascal.
And this is Off the Cuff. Bitch.
Bitch.
What is your most used emoji?
What is my
Okay, we got 10 minutes of this. Oh God. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, the smartest man in the universe in the MCU. Sorry, I got something. I got an eyelash in my eye.
most used emoji?
Yeah.
Or crying emoji. Some form of
Mostly
crying
the
emoji.
crying, the full tear.
Wait a minute. Wait. No, wait. Did she wait?
What is my most used emoji?
What is my most used emoji?
Yeah.
Gives it a finger.
Or crying emoji. Some form of
Mostly
crying
the
emoji.
crying, the full tears.
The full tears.
The not crying, laughing, it's full tears emoji.
Yes.
That's yours, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I had no idea that you were paying such close attention.
So, oh God. So this grown man, Pedro Pascal, his most used emoji, from what he just said, if I'm hearing this correctly, is the crying emoji. What? I would have been less surprised if he'd said the eggplant emoji. A grown man, the crying emoji is his most used emoji. There's something seriously wrong with this dude.
I'm going to be nicer to you. Here, from
You
this
heard
day,
it here
From
first.
this day forth, you have it on camera, off the cuff.
Yeah.
What is something that never fails to make you laugh?
You.
Other than me!
Your face.
My face.
What was the last photo you took?
I just took a picture with you. I just took a bunch of pictures
Oh,
with you.
that's right.
We just did a photo shoot. What is the last DM you sent? You never send DMs.
No.
So what's the last text you sent? Other than the middle finger to me.
Can I? Is this me, or am I crazy? Or y'all tell me in the audience. I'm serious right now. It's not often, because generally we try to avoid it like the plague. But it's not often that I've sat and listened to Pedro just have like an actual conversation like he's having right now. And I'm talking like in real life as Pedro Pascal, not in a movie, not in Narcos or whatever like this, but just a regular dude sitting down. This is a guy, isn't he? He's like 50, right? He's in his 50s, early 50s. I think he's a few years older than me. He sounds like a 17-year-old girl. Like his cadence, the way he speaks, the speech pattern. He sounds like a very he does not sound like a 50-year-old man. And I don't mean the timbre of the voice. it's hard to explain, but I think y'all out there in the chat know what I'm talking about myself. Or what sorry. It's hard for me to explain, but I think you guys out in the chat kind of know what I mean here. If y'all can figure it out, it just sounds not like a full-grown man.
You sent. You never send DMs.
No.
So what's the last text you sent, other than the middle finger to me?
It was the middle finger to Chris. Describe your ideal night out with me.
My ideal night out
Yeah.
is a night in.
Okay. Bell ring.
What is a secret skill you have that nobody knows about?
I can balance stuff on my head.
Yes, you also speak Hungarian.
I speak Hungarian. I cook. I can cook.
Yeah, you make a very good hummus. Or somebody else made that. Remember you were like, here, have a bite. And I finished the entire thing. And I was
Where?
like, do you need this at your house?
Which one?
The green hummus. Which house?
I didn't make that hummus. If you could be in any
It's this guy's so weird.
series of reality show, what would you be in?
Ooh. Well, the ones that I love are so punishing, so I don't want to be on any of them. I don't know any. I don't enjoy any of the
You
ones.
loved
that are-
couples therapy.
I was obsessed with couples therapy, but fuck, I would not want to be on couples therapy.
Yeah.
I love like old A&E shit that was like about Southwest Airlines and people losing it at the airport and shit, but I don't want to be at the airport.
What about like
It's called Airline.
He sounds like it. I swear to God, he just sounds like the way he talks, and I mean like the not just the voice, it's how he says things. It's he just sounds like a teenage girl. If I closed my eyes and didn't know who was, I'd feel like this. It just like he just sounds like what my daughters sound like when they're talking sometimes. Good Lord.
Great British Bake Off?
Yeah, I would love that. I would like the Canadian Bake Off. Sorry, England.
I'm coming around for dinner. What are you cooking?
I would mash up avocado and I'd sprinkle some olive oil on it, maybe a little chili pepper, some salt, and I'd toast you some gluten-free bread.
Thank you. That's considerate.
Oh my God, that just got way more gay. I'll get you some gluten-free bread. I'm not even talking about like the depth of his voice, guys. I'm not talking about like like I said, the tone or the timbre of his voice. It's just the way he speaks. The inflections, the softness. He does not sound like a commanding 50-year-old mature man.
And I'd get you drunk.
Hey.
Yeah!
Okay.
What's your favorite book as a kid?
Goodnight Moon.
Goodnight Moon?
Yeah.
Can I answer this one too?
Yeah.
Anything Judy Blume and anything Beverly
Are you
Cleary.
there, God? It's me.
Oh my God. He did he? So he didn't have the question. He wanted to answer this. So Dakota Johnson says her favorite book as a child was Goodnight Moon. Now, it's a book I read to my kids. Oh, I can't even remember how many times. All three of them. Again, here's a guy who goes right for, it's not my question, but I want to answer this question too. Anything from Judy Blume. Those were girls' books. Were they not? Holy shit. This is the least manly man on earth. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, the smartest man in the MCU.
What's your favorite book as a kid?
Goodnight Moon.
Goodnight Moon?
Yeah.
Can I answer this one too?
Yeah.
Anything Judy Blume and anything Beverly
Are
Cleary.
you there, God? It's
Beverly Cleary, that was the other one. Oh, God. Just kill me.
me, Margaret.
That one.
Do you
About
love
getting
that
your
one?
period, yes.
Yeah.
All about
How
getting
old
your
were you when
period
you
and
got your
menstruation.
period?
Your first period.
Yeah. I'll
Wait,
do that.
oh, come on. You got an ad. It's an ad. sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. All right, let me just let it. Did he? What was it? The ad cut into him asking something about a period. Did I hear that right? We have to back this up now. What what universe am I in? Hang on. Wait, I got to put the volume back up.
Book as a kid.
Goodnight Moon.
Damn,
Goodnight
too
Moon.
far.
Yeah.
That's all
Can I
right.
answer this one?
Let's just
too?
let it go.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
Anything Judy Blume and anything Beverly
Are you
Cleary.
there, God? It's me, Margaret.
That one.
Do you
About
love
getting
that
your
one?
period, yes.
Yeah.
All about
How
getting
old
your
were you when
period
you
and
got your
menstruation.
period?
Your first period. Round 2, personal questions. That's a
Okay.
good segue.
As a young man growing up, his favorite books were Judy Blume and Beverly Cleary, and I hope that was a joke. About one of the books was all about getting your first period. I feel my soul leaving my body. Everybody should go see Fantastic Four. You know what? Here we go. Hot take. Valiant Renegades hot take. You ready? 3, 2, 1. I am so glad that, or I hope that the rumors turn out to be true that Sue Storm is going to be the total centerpiece of this movie and leading the Fantastic Four, because Vanessa Kirby probably has a bigger dick than Pedro Pascal. And I really love Vanessa Kirby. I didn't mean that as an insult to her. I just can't even right now. I hate this guy more and more every day. And I wouldn't be picking on him just for stuff like this, but he's so stupid. He's so outspoken about the most insane things, right? Trans kids and all this kind of stuff, other things that don't exist. Going back to the whole Gina Carano situation, again, he gets away with murder for what he says. Other people lose their jobs for not saying anything nearly as bad as he does. He's Teflon out there in Hollywood, and he's just becoming more and more insufferable.
Hey,
Go on.
what was your first job? Cooking.
Damn.
Fucking, because I'm.
Gorgeous, intelligent, powerful.
That's not what he normally says.
It is. It's what I normally think.
I'm so glad Dakota Johnson found herself. Every good woman needs a bunch of good girlfriends, and I'm glad Pedro could be one of those girlfriends for Dakota.
That's what I wake up thinking. That's what I go to bed thinking.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day of my life. I worked at an art gallery that was next door to my school, my high school, and I hated it because it was like doing more homework. What kind of kid were you in high school?
I changed a lot, like Madonna.
Stop it! Please stop! I can't even go anymore. What the fuck? Oh God. Oh God. I didn't watch this before. I told you I was doing a cold reaction. Oh, I need a tissue. I gotta wipe my eyes.
I want to remind everyone that this is absolutely not gay.
Oh God, I can't. Oh my God, there's 6 more minutes of this. I can't. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through this. Somebody might have to scrape me off the floor.
I was like a theater nerd and also like a little bit of a raver,
Raver, like EDM.
like techno. It
Yeah, it's going to get worse. It's going to get so much worse.
was the early 90s.
Glow
Proper
sticks.
I can
techno.
see it.
Like Dr. Seuss fucking hats, very like parachute type pants.
Wait a minute. So he's explaining, like, did he just say glow sticks and everything? So we just played the clip. There you go. So he has been into this stuff. Wait, I got to back that part up.
It was the early 90s.
Glow
Proper
sticks and
techno.
shit?
Like Dr. Seuss fucking hats, very like parachute type pants,
MC
like,
Hammer
real
pants?
thick rubber sole sneakers. Like, yeah.
This sounds fabulous.
Yeah, it was pretty great. What country is on your bucket list to visit?
No, it wasn't.
Vietnam.
Are we dreaming?
What?
Are we dreaming?
Do we go together?
Let's go. Because I
go
looked
right
at
now.
this and I answered it immediately. I was like, I knew exactly what I wanted to say. And it was Vietnam. And then you said
Go
Vietnam.
together?
I would love to.
Okay.
Wow, that's weird.
What is
Speaking of weird,
your favorite takeaway food?
My favorite takeaway food is cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your nickname as a kid?
Koki.
Koki?
Mm-hmm.
that was a reaction.
Spelled the way the frog is spelled.
Koki.
Coqui.
Koki. Koke. Cock.
Yeah, my nickname as a little girl was Cock. You fucking idiot. Oh my God.
Well, I'm glad Dakota Johnson got to say what everybody in America is thinking about Pedro Pascal. Idiot.
Get out. I'll do this with somebody else.
Can we do Fantastic Four with somebody else?
I'm going to suffocate. Okay. Did I ask you a question?
Remember, oh no, yeah, we don't want to play fan service, right? You got your 5 minutes of John Krasinski getting ripped apart by Girl Boss in Doctor Strange 2. No. You get Pedro. Just give Marvel fans the big middle finger. Just stick your middle mouse finger out there right now, Mickey, and get it over with.
No. Go.
Where's your favorite place in the world?
We ain't stopping.
If you could only listen to one album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I would listen to OK Computer.
Okay, computer, I would listen to Purple Rain, Prince of the Revolution.
What is one sport you could beat everyone else at?
Swimming. What is your favorite board game?
Scrabble.
I like Clue.
What is one outfit from your childhood that you wish you had the grown-up version of?
I've seen a picture like emerge of me in these like red overalls shorts.
I feel like you could
Like
do that
red
now.
onion
I feel like
overall shorts.
you might soon do that because you've been doing some wild shit
I've been
recently.
doing some stupid shit.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna stop.
Okay.
Good to know. I'd like to play that clip again.
Soon do that because you've been doing some wild shit
I've been
recently.
doing some stupid shit.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna stop.
Okay.
All right.
Name a TV show that you've recently binge watched.
I didn't binge it. I've been waiting every week for the studio. I think it's hilarious. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's very funny.
Really good. How do you like to relax after working on a big job?
I like to go to sleep for days.
For days.
What has been the strangest gift you've received from a fan?
Just a human head.
Me too. So weird.
Just one of those. What was your dream job as a kid?
Being an actress.
Yep.
If you weren't a performer, what job would you want to do?
I would teach and probably just.
What would you teach?
I wish I would.
How to be a bitch?
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, how to be a bitch 101. Literature.
Oh,
Like to
okay.
teach literature.
So that's where the clip was from. What would you teach? Can you imagine Pedro Pascal teaching your kids? We have enough teachers like Pedro Pascal teaching our kids, and we're trying to get rid of them.
He can't read.
I would teach you how to read.
No.
And then I would teach you how to be a
Can't
bitch
you?
who reads.
Okay.
This is so
What is one role that you would love to play?
Hannibal Lecter. What was your first
Yeah, Dakota's face right there, that said it all.
paid acting job?
Crazy in Alabama when I was 9.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever had any accidents while filming?
Yes, I have. I've gotten hurt for real.
Me too.
Yeah. What'd you get hurt on?
I got I got whiplash
You got whipped.
from 50 Shades.
Wow. 50 Shades of Grey, because that's actually okay, that's because she was in that, I guess. She got whiplash from it was a really raunchy, lots of sex movie kind of movie. Right? It was based on a book, wasn't it? It's kind of funny.
Oh,
Oh God.
that's my favorite. That's my favorite thing. What's all meaningless after that? What's the best piece of advice
He's like another girl. He really is. It's Dakota and another girl on this stage.
you've been given about acting?
I backed it up.
That's my favorite thing. What's all meaningless after that? What's the best piece of advice you've been given about acting? What's the best piece of advice that you? What is the best piece of advice
stop.
you've been given about acting? Please
To
stop. Please
stop
stop.
acting.
Me too. If you could switch styles with any of the characters you played, who would it be?
I recently did a job where I had just like a lot of the
Madam
row.
Web.
Madam Web. Yeah, 100%. How do you approach dressing for a red carpet? What's going on?
What's going to look stupid?
What shows just my kneecaps?
Yes. She's making fun of his outfits, the ones that we showed you a few weeks ago, the stupid crap that he wore. He dresses like he goes to red carpet events and he dresses like a retarded child. He dresses like a child that has some type of actual mental retardation. Let me ask you guys in the chat. This puts, I mean, seeing all this stuff now about this puts an entirely new perspective looking back to, 3 years ago, 4 years ago now, whatever the hell it was, when we were first hearing stories about how Pedro Pascal was upset on the set of The Mandalorian that he wasn't able to show his face. He was always behind the mask. Remember all the issues where he was barely going to be around for season 3. And they said, fine, we'll put the stunt actors in the suit and do it all with them. And then you can come in and do the voice work and maybe a couple of shots. Put that into perspective now with how he's acting. Can you hear this guy on the set complaining about this stuff? I mean, he wasn't on the set kind of being, forceful and trying to make his point. And even if he was being a little bit prima donna, listen to how he's talking here. And then imagine this guy starting to complain about how his face isn't seen on the set enough to Jon Favreau and everybody else. This is putting like an entirely different mental image in my head. I'm looking back on that story from 3 or 4 years ago now in a completely different light. This guy must have been, I mean, the biggest little bitch on set. Jesus God.
Kneecaps have been shown like twice in my life.
But that recent one with the boots and then the shorts,
for
just this.
For a celebration that is literally about cosplaying, everyone's like dressed up as Star Wars characters and stuff like that.
What Star Wars character were you dressed up
I was
as?
just having a little fun.
It was cute.
You hated it? You hated it. Embarrassed for me?
I felt confused.
Yeah, because Dakota's not, I guess, nuts. I mean, yeah, we were all confused. I think Dakota Johnson just basically told Pedro Pascal how the rest of Earth feels. When he goes out there and he makes these bizarre statements, or he does these random things, or he dresses like and acts like he's got some serious developmental issues. And you keep trotting him out there. I don't know if it's fetal alcohol syndrome, Crimson. I mean, I'm not an expert on it. When I think of fetal alcohol syndrome, I think of Greta Thunberg, right? She visually looks like a kid that was a victim of that. But Dakota Johnson's straight up telling him, she's talking about the outfit where only his kneecaps. Remember, he wore the shoes with like they weren't boots, but they were like covers that went down to the shoes. His kneecaps were exposed. Looked like he had on lederhosen and a long sleeve shirt. I mean, the only thing he was missing was a bicycle helmet on. It would have completed it. He would have looked like a developmentally disabled kid. And she says, she's like, oh, I just felt like wearing that. I mean, this is not a normal, mentally functioning 50-year-old grown man.
It was cute.
You hated it? You hated it. Embarrassed for me?
I felt confused.
Join the rest. Who's your style icon? Me at the Star Wars celebration?
100%. What is the best fashion advice you've ever received?
Wear these boots.
Yeah.
Dressing up or dressing down?
Both. What has been the most extravagant fashion purchase you've ever bought? I know.
A ring.
Yeah. The emerald ring.
That I found that it was on loan for our movie materialists.
Okay, this round is called Guess the Look, bitch.
Bitch. Guess this look, bitch.
Let me see. Ooh, the meatball. Oh, you have to guess the designer?
Wait.
Valentino?
Yeah.
Wait. Okay, I'm gonna have to, let me back up a bit. So they're going through, guess the look. So he's on screen. Let me get off to the side here so I'm not obstructing your view. Nope, not that one. VR. Come on, man. Get with the program here. Where did my window go? Dag nabbit. Not that one. Why is it? Okay, you're killing me right now, StreamYard. You are absolutely freaking killing me. Hang on. Let me try this again. There we go. Thank you. I don't know why you couldn't do this a minute ago. Come on, StreamYard. You're killing me. All right, here we go.
Bitch.
Bitch. Guess this look, bitch.
Let me see. Ooh, the meatball. Oh, you have to guess the designer?
Yeah.
Valentino?
Yeah.
Guess this look.
Gucci.
Bitch.
Your fave.
Can I go back to
The
that for a
Golden
second?
Globes. Bottega. Ball. Oh, you have
Not
to guess
that one.
the designer?
Not that one. The design. Let me tell you, who the designer is. The designer is retarded. That's who the designer was for this one.
Yeah.
Valentino?
Yeah.
Guess this look.
Gucci.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure everybody was. We could put it on context and.
Bitch.
Your fave.
The Golden Globes. Bottega.
Stella McCartney. Gucci. I don't know.
The fact that a grown 50-year-old man knows all of these little prissy designers out there. Again, what man is going to sit there and rattle off fashion designers like this and just look at pictures? Oh, I know who did this one. I know who. Just saying.
This. You?
Your bathrobe? That looks like.
Bed Bath & Beyond?
This looks like Hyder Ackerman.
I bet you're right.
I bet I am. Oh.
Does anybody know who any of these people are?
Gucci.
Okay, I think everybody knows the name Gucci. We've heard that one.
Was that recent?
Yes. I mean, the only thing that matters is
There's the shirt talking about trans kids.
the shirt. It's Connor Ives.
The only thing that matters. Wait, there's a designer for the shirt? It's a t-shirt with text written on it.
Oh,
Gucci.
Wait, I got to hear this again.
was that recent?
Yes. I mean, the only thing that matters is the shirt. It's Connor Ives, Protect the Dolls.
How much did you pay for a white T-shirt with writing on it from a? You're naming like this is a fashion designer that made this. Like instead of anybody at their house with an iron and a pack of $1 stick-on stuff from Dollar Tree.
Lightning round.
Lightning round.
This is
Fashion or function?
Function. Beach or mountains?
Ooh, both. Dinner party or rave?
Today
Rave.
or the past?
You would go to a rave, for sure.
Rave. Over a dinner party, yeah. Starter or dessert?
Starter.
He went to a rave.
I want to remind everyone that this is absolutely not gay.
I can't. I just can't. I can't anymore. I can't. Let's just finish this. There's only about a minute left.
City or countryside?
City. Pop or hip hop?
Can't choose. Sweet or sour?
Sour. Text or voice note?
Love both.
You text. You text.
I text. Iced or hot coffee?
Iced. Movie or box set?
Iced.
Movie. Big spoon or little spoon?
I'm sorry. I gotta go back. I can't. My brain is on over. I can't.
I text. Iced or hot coffee?
Iced. Movie or box set?
Wait for it.
Movie. Big spoon or little spoon?
His reaction, the way he says that word, which I'm not even going to try to replicate, because I think I'd turn into half a gay guy if I did. Look at Dakota's face. She obviously knows. He's come out of the closet to her. And she's not an idiot either. I'm just saying she either knows just out of like we all know, or he's told her, look, Pedro, just come out. Just get it over with, dude. Just stop with this. It's so bad.
Pizza or pasta?
Oof.
Pasta. Pizza or pasta? There is a T in pasta.
Are you okay? Oh
I'm
my
having a
God.
seizure.
It's the end of
I'm
the
having
day.
a
I think, yeah. Pasta.
Like, oh my God, I'm putting a T in
Pizza, I
pasta.
guess. Pizza.
Pizza.
Pizza. Cinema or theater?
I won't choose between the two.
Oh, I would never.
I could not choose
I would never.
between the two.
Yes or no?
Yes. Left or right?
Left.
Left, baby.
Goodbye.
The groans.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, Vogue.
Pasta.
Pasta.
Of course, they would both choose left. That's not an accident. We all know. Well, thanks for coming to the show. All right, I'm gonna go reevaluate my choices in life. And then try to see if I still have a brain that can function. After watching that. Won't go the same for 5. Pedro sounds like Dylan Mulvaney after too much Xanax in that clip with Dakota. Oh, God. You're not wrong. Marcus Quintus for 2. I don't even want to watch Game of Thrones anymore. I can't take this guy anymore. There's so much wrong with this dude. But this is who Disney has continued. You got you got Avengers Doomsday, can be a big part of that. I'm telling you right now, Disney's going to be in a lot of trouble with these things. These movies are not going to do what they think it's going to do. I very well could be wrong, but we'll see. I don't think I will be. Yeah, I know. Some of the meanest thing I've ever done. Look, I subjected myself to it live on air. How do you think I feel? But I had to do it. This is what we do here, guys. Oh, good Lord. Okay. Well, we had a really big audience on X tonight, apparently, which is great. And I'm sure that was because of Ron. But thank you very much for joining us. And William Thompson says, please, God, let's talk about Korean cheerleaders. Yeah, well. I think they just lost $1 million in box. I think they lost more than that. That shirt is up for 75. What? Like the actual one, like his shirt, the one he wore, he's auctioning it, or just a copy from this designer. I don't even want to go down that conversation. I'm not going to go off on that tangent of advocating for the abuse and mutilation of kids. That's insane. Insane. Absolutely insane. All right. Thank you, everybody, for the support tonight. The super chats may or may not do Renegade Nation later tonight. I want to, but I need a break. I need some rest. I will. If we come back later, it'll be impromptu. Like I said, it's already 8:30 now. Like I said, we started a half hour late tonight, but we're gonna get on out of here. Yes, it's not. Unfortunately, it isn't Cobra Cast. I know. I'm not as adept as Jeremy. And no, this isn't Renegade Nation right now. It's just our usual stuff that we love doing, talking about Hollywood and the entertainment industry. All right, I am going to stop it. Christ. I'm done. I can't go anymore. Thank you guys for being here. Much appreciated. We'll be back. We might actually try to do one tomorrow evening for Renegade Nation. Ron and I have talked about doing something on Thursdays. So we might try something tomorrow evening. We'll see. So oh look, he's here. Too late, Jonas. Too late. Yeah, we'll see. If something major, in fact, I'll check right now. Let me just do this, because I guess if I do this, I'll let you know one way or the other. I mean, if there is something major new here, is I haven't had time during this show to catch up. Feds assaulted during meat plant raid to detain dozens of illegal immigrants. Not surprising. Yeah, there's a few good stories out there. I don't know if there's anything. People still talking about Newsom's terrible speech the other night. Absolutely awful speech that he could not get anything working tech-wise. He missed half the speech on it. Curfew's going to start in an hour and a half. It seems like they've got most of this under control for the day. Honestly, I think, and this is what bugs me about this stuff. I think a lot of this is kind of the deep breath before the plunge, right? The Democrats are trying to organize this big thing. They're trying to make a big blowout of this on Saturday. So, I think they're going to keep things. They're going to maybe for a few days we'll get some quiet, but I don't trust what's going to happen. War crimes is what VR just did to all of us. Yeah, I know. It is. It was a violation of YouTube standards. That's for sure. What are you telling Jonas? Please do not show the Oh, God, I'll let him figure it out. He knows what it is. It's the interview that Pedro Pascal did with Dakota. We just did the whole thing, Jonas. We went through the whole 11-minute interview, and my brain about melted. About completely melted. All right, we're going to get on out of here. I don't think we'll have anything over on Renegade Nation tonight, but we may do something tomorrow evening. I'll let you know. Keep watching the stuff over there. If you didn't catch the whole live show, go catch it. We've got some other videos bankrolled that I'll be throwing over there. If probably wait till tomorrow morning, I'll throw one over there in the morning instead of later tonight, just to try to, again, continue to increase the watch time. We are a good bit, probably almost 2/3 of the way there for monetization on Super Chats and in membership. So, and we've only done 2 shows. So we really, if I can get this thing done in the next few days or by the weekend, for sure, I think we'll be done by the weekend for sure. We'll hit the mark. But yeah, it's exactly. Go back and watch my comments, Jonas. Go back and watch my comments. Her face. There were some moments in there, man. All right, we're gonna get on out of here. See y'all later. Have a good night. See you Sunday. But we'll see you on Renegade Nation before then.